What's up? What's up? What's up? And I didn't even formally do my own mic check. I didn't even formally do my own de facto mic check. Let me test the sound really quick. Let me play with this sound really quick. Make that a little better. Hopefully, oh, that's a little loud. Hopefully that sound good to you. Hopefully that sound good to you. Let's get ready to go. Let's get this thing started. Let's go. Let me get back on camera. Welcome everybody to the Grown Man Hour with you. Y'all see me looking around. I'm still getting things together, grabbing notes, getting ready. Always late, never on time. But I'm what they say. I don't know why I be quoting scriptures like I'm religious. Not scriptures, but just church isms. You may not be there when you want them, but it be there right on time or something. I don't know. Whatever they say. That's what I say about myself in my show. All right. We about to get up out of here. Not get up out of here. About to get in here. About to get into this. Shout out to everybody in the building. I'm grabbing the intro right now. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
All right. What up, good people? What's up, good people? Welcome back to the Grown Man Hour with Bernard Riley. Shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all know how I always do. Shout out to the early bird squads, those that make it in bright and early before we even get things going. Shout out to each and every one of you. Trying to find my comments. Can't even see stuff. Still working out the kinks, but it's getting better. It's getting better. I think the camera work is getting a little better. It's a little brighter than what I would like it to be. The lights are a little too warm, as they say. But it's a few things I could work out to. But either way it go, we got a good one. Hold on, that may be because I got that monitor light on me. Let me turn that monitor light off. Oh, okay. Yeah, that helped a little bit. I may need to get rid of that thing. Okay, I gotta quit talking to myself while I'm on the air and talk to the audience. Shout out to Uneducated Lame in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you coming on through. Shout out to Larry Legend in the building. Shout out to Larry Legend. Says, what did he say? He says, we were told money keeps women in check. The lie detector determined that was a lie. Yes, it is true that if you have money and you out there moving goofy when it comes to women, you're going to get some goofy results. That much is true. Money matters. Let's not deny that. Money matters. Money puts options on the table. Money puts you in position. But it's not the end all be all. But money matters. We're not gonna discount or discredit the almighty dollar today. We're not gonna do that today. Uneducated Lame in the building says, let's start it off right. Let's start it off right, he says. And start it off right. We are with a customary got 5 on it. Shout out to Uneducated Lane coming through with the first super chat. Just drinking some gas station coffee. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. I still didn't go and grab a coffee pot to put it in the new studio. So yeah, we in here. We in here. Shout out to Omega Dreads Gaming Channel with a hard to understand, probably trolling comment. He says, well, that's easy. Poor or rich, never satisfied. Okay, he came with a normal comment. I saw a lot of thoughts that just look like they came from the I don't I don't know where Omega Dread's comments be coming from. They just be coming from anywhere. He just be coming out of nowhere with it. It'd be borderline on topic. You know, Omega Dreads just be throwing stuff. He just be throwing spaghetti against the wall. It'd be funny though. Elizabeth Eddings in the building says, now that's the question. Right on. Little Rock, Aaron B, Omega Dreads. There he goes. Some of the craziness. See, he reeled off like 9 in a row. The Mac the Trucker in the building. Simple answer, hell no. They too blue pill. Shout out to Queen Q, and I'll let this be the last one that I read before I go ahead and get things going here today. She says, good morning, everyone. I'm very interested in this conversation. This was a prevailing topic on Clubhouse when the baby story hit. Yeah, I meant to cover it yesterday, but through course of events, I ended up not going on the air, so I ended up not covering it when it was a little hotter, but I'll still talk about it today. But I wanted to get on it when it was a little hotter, fresh off the presses. But oh well. She said there was a lot of good rooms on there. However, I did cause a divide between some groups of women. You caused a divide. You know, I didn't listen to that many women on this one. I haven't heard what that many women have had to say about this. I honestly haven't. So I don't know if they're more or less siding with her. What I always say is it's kind of stupid that we even come at this on some who we siding with situation, because like I said, it's it's normally bad actors on all sides. It's normally people doing stupid stuff on all sides. You know, PJ Washington is still is in the thumbnail. I how do I get this out of here? Hopefully I don't mess up the stream when I do. Okay. I had to take care of something. So hold on. Let me do that and then move that. All right, cool. Hopefully, like I said, PJ Washington in the thumbnail, and it was like he did enough stupid stuff to where it's not really a side to take. He's an idiot. Now she's a bad actor in the equation as well. But you know, she on the come up. She on the come up doing her thing. Knew she could get $1 million baby from this idiot. Then she just got the $1 million baby and hot stepped up out of there. That just is what it is. Like that's what happened. That's literally what happened. But to pick a side, no. See, I don't do that. I don't do that. Now I'll get into more so what I do. That sounds funny. What I do in these situations. When I look at situations like this, I normally like to come at it from this perspective, you know. Well, okay, wait, hold on, time out. Let's do a quick timeout. because it's something I do want to address. It's very few moments where my audience goes against me. And the reason for that is because I'm normally right. So I'm normally right. My audience normally doesn't go against me. But my audience broke out the pitchforks for me because they said I was really unfair to a woman who came on my panel. So I re-listened to it. And after re-listening to it and reconsidering everything, I was still right. they they broke out the pitchforks for me, but I'm not backing down. But I understand why pitchforks were broken out. I do understand that because y'all heard one thing. It was something very specific that I heard that y'all wasn't picking up on. Y'all heard her saying the words, "Why exalt the whore?" That's what y'all heard her saying. And she makes a fair point on that. And I'm sorry I'm looking away because and thank you, Queen Q. I think you said my waves are going to drown the audience. I appreciate the compliment. I took the time. I made sure they was like extra crispy today. I was in the mirror taking light skinned it pictures and everything. I was feeling myself. I was feeling myself. Y'all bear with me while I dot some I's and cross some T's. But all right. But 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 yeah, I'm talking about the woman. I think her name was Red Femme or something like that, something of the sorts. I don't know exactly what her name is. It was like Red Femme or something like that, where she came on and she made the point. She made the point that in the black community we exalt whores and something along the lines of Kevin Samuels. He had to no, she said, "Oh yeah, I got it. My fault, my bad. I had to think." She said something about why give platform to a whore. That's what everybody else heard, and they were like, "Yeah, she's right. Why give platform to a whore?" I mean, and I understand that, and I understood that completely. The part that made me have to probe further to see what was going on, it made me get in full debate mode and break out the interrogation tactics. Is the part where she said he had to do it. When she said he had to do it, I was like, what do you mean he had to? Because I don't like when people talk, particularly women, but people in general, when they talk about a man, a brother who's built an empire. He's no doubt built an empire, $1 million empire. Why are you talking about what he had to do? That didn't make sense to me. So I'm like, so that's why that's why I was stopping it. Like, what do you mean he had to do it? What do you mean he had to bring this horror on? And it was one point that she made that I kind of had some agreement with. I kind of had some understanding of that one because it was a simple point that I was making. Is that it was a business move. It was a business move. But when she went further than that, which I saw coming a mile away, she went further than that and essentially was saying that, oh, because we live in a gynocracy, we exalt the whore, so people have to hear it from the whore. That in order to get the message out, you gotta use the whore. And I'm like, wait, hold on. He built the 1.3 million sub platform without Brittany Renner, so he didn't need Brittany Renner. Now it was a mutually beneficial business arrangement, but you're saying he had to do it. And then when I probed a little further, she ended up essentially saying that that because we're in a democracy, that we're going to get the message or receive it from a woman, or we need to hear what this woman think. We need to hear what this whore think. We need to hear the words and laments of this whore because we care so much about what this whore had to say, and that's why he had to do it because she basically was saying that because this is how I interpret it. Y'all are bitch led, and y'all need to hear the message from a woman. So that's why he had to do it. Like when I was hearing that, I was like, no, no, no. Like I can follow the logic of, okay, why give a whore a platform? I could follow that logic. I could follow the logic of is giving the whore a platform worth whatever business benefit you're going to get from it. That's logic I could follow. I could follow that logic. But the implication that we bitulate and we need to hear it from a woman, like it's like y'all do not be noticing that some women, some of them do it on purpose, some of them don't even realize they're doing it. They be taking shots at y'all and y'all don't be knowing, and I be trying to catch it. That's why when y'all hear me say, wait, hold on, what do you mean by that? I'm doing it for a reason. I'm doing it for a reason. Now, did I end up being too hard on her? Okay, sure. hmm It happens, but overall, because I mean, she did land the plane and say some things that I agreed with, and I did come to the conclusion that okay, she kind of rocked with what we talking about in the sphere, but overall, I couldn't get jiggy with how she came in talking about what a black man had to do, what he had to do. Is he serious? Like that part kind of made me go down a rabbit hole with her, made me go down a rabbit hole with her. But shout out to her. I appreciate people that come on with different or you well, I can't really say different or unique perspectives because she she was using a lot of manosphere lingo. She talked about how when women just the ramblings of a whore, and she was like, yeah, and I call it bitch babble. I didn't catch that on the air because everybody was talking. She's like, I call it bitch babble. I'm like, no, Minister Jap calls it bitch babble. Don't be quoting a man in this space and saying that that's what you call it. No, there was a lot. It was a lot of subtle effery going on. A lot of subtle effery going on. More like people. Shout out to Leo Anthony in the building. One of my long time supporters. Long time supporters. Been here for a minute. He says, let me make that bigger, not bigger to y'all, but bigger to me. So I could see it. More like people would pay the most attention because it's coming from a dysfunctional 3-0 hole in the Spotlight. That's what I believe she was trying to say. Yeah, but whenever we start playing the game of, well, what she really trying to say is, that's when we get on that. We get on some goofy stuff when we start doing that. I'm not going to say what they really trying to say, or what she really mean, or what she really trying to say. I'm not going to do that. In my own way, I'm going to let them talk. I'm going to ask them questions, and I'm going to. They have to use their words and get it right. They don't get to just. Well, no, what she really meant was no. I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I understand where you're going. I understand what you're trying to say. More like people would pay the most attention because it's coming from a dysfunctional. The reason I didn't like that is because Kevin Samuels has built that platform with off the strength of his words, off the strength of the things that he say, that he believes. His ideology is what's going all throughout. And by his ideology, I mean the ideology of a lot of people in the sphere. Is what's going all throughout the airwaves, all deep up in the mainstream. That's what's the driving vehicle behind what he's doing. Yes, bringing the women on as props to get off his message. That's a part of it. That's an undeniable part of it. That is an undeniable part of it. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, that's a Kevin Samuels. That is a man-led platform speaking for men. Yeah, he's giving some dating advice to women, but he's speaking for men and hardcore and unapologetic about it and drawing an audience like that. So to say he had to bend to the whims of a whore, no, he didn't have to. No, he didn't have to. But he can if he's going to use some whores to grow his Instagram platform. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad business move. But don't try to say he had to do it because that's the only way we going to receive it when everybody has received him in the work that he's done. So it just reeked of this. It reeked of diminishing a man and overvaluing his collaboration with a whore. That's where my pushback was coming from. That's where my pushback was coming from. I did want to address that, but shout out to the young lady. Shout out to the young. Well, I don't know if she was young, but shout out to the lady that was on the panel. I'm getting her name wrong. Leo Anthony said, I just read through the Bible. I try not to do that. I try to take what they say, how they said it, and respond, to exactly what they said. I try to respond to exactly what it is that they said. But that's my recap of yesterday's show. Shout out to everybody, and shout out to Justin March in the building with the just came through and donated. What did he donate? He donated his last $2.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to Justin March in the building. My de facto focus group told me I needed to stop slurping coffee on the air as well. I don't think that's going nowhere. I think the coffee sipping and slurping coffee on the air was I think that here to stay. Katie says she's 42. Oh, you know this woman. Paul Game in the building. Paul Game was another one who was disagreeing with me. Y'all was on my head. Y'all was on my head. My audience normally don't do that because I'm normally right. But y'all was on my head. Y'all was on my head. Thank you, M. Stewart. I cut my own hair. I do it myself. Probably do need to go to the barber to clean up some of the edges, get the kitchen right. But y'all can't see that part. It was only one time I did a show where the kitchen was visible because I had a camera kind of behind me. It was kind of back there a little bit. Yeah, I could kind of see that. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with this camera angle. But all right, let me get into a few things. Like this is the only takeaway I got from the whole DaBaby thing. Okay, one, you got ignorant people, you got ratchet people. I do always say, when it comes to a chick being ratchet, this came up on the last show, and apologies to Donika Marie and Six to Goddess. People was asking me, do I think they're feminine ladies? And to me, whenever a chick do anything or talk or sound just the least bit ghetto, to me, their femininity just flies out the window. They can still be sexy and attractive. So I kind of took some jabs at them. I'm sitting here copping all kind of pleased today, but apologies to them, but I don't, women behave in any type of just loud, obnoxious, slightly ghetto way. It just I can't get jiggy with it, but yeah, so that's one aspect of it. Chicks that got any ratchetry in them, stay away from. I'm not talking about Danica Marine and Six to God is right there. I'm talking about the chick DaBaby was messing with. But now the thing about that is he's a goddamn rapper with multiple baby mamas. So whatever she is, he is that as well. So it's one thing to be saying, tell men, hey, stay away from that. But men like him are going to mess with that. But how should they be messing with that? Well, they should be messing with that in the same, shout out to Ramil, they should be messing with that in the same, and ultimately the same context of Ramil. You know what you are. You dabble in hood stuff, or you full blown hood yourself. You like hood chicks. I don't know what rapper was that? Juicy J. Y'all can say no to ratchet peace sleeve. Juicy J can't. If you one of those, yeah, pump and dump need to be the modus operandus for you. If you just can't say no to it, it need to be pump and dump, get in, get out. She's sitting there talking about how this dude busting in her, like got multiple baby mamas, like the so it's one thing to say, man, stay away from women like that. But when you're talking about a situation where the man is the male equivalent of whatever is wrong with that chick, he is clearly the male equivalent of that. So, it's almost like, at least I would think, that regular men with the decent head on their shoulders that got their head on straight don't even need that advice, but maybe some do. But so it just turns into a goofy thing to me. It turns into a real goofy thing to where I don't even have any advice to give with that. The bigger issue, the bigger takeaway that I pull out of that, the biggest takeaway that I pull out of it is that, and I can speak to some personal situations, I've I don't know exactly the dividing line of when I stopped, but eventually I got to a point where I was like, I talked about my divorce a lot in my whole child custody battle and everything because there was a lot of information, a lot of jewels and gems that I can give to men about how that whole fight for custody went, the mistakes I made going into the divorce, the mistakes I made. I'm not talking about mistakes in the marriage. I'm talking about legally not making sure I's was dotted and T's was crossed. It was a lot of unforced errors that I made. So I talked about that a lot because I wanted to educate men on it. And when people make stupid arguments about, well, if you just marry a woman and I'm like, no, you could do everything the right way and you could still get screwed and be on child support and having to fight through a system to see your kids, which I did fight through that system and I won and got custody and everything. So that's why I talk about it a lot because I want to educate people. So I'm hesitating talking about it right now, but it's a teachable moment in this where essentially that whole recording everything, he wasn't wrong for that. He wasn't wrong for recording everything. The part where this modern era has just gotten stupid, where people have just gotten stuck on stupid, is like they don't even realize that you can record stuff without going live. It's like some people don't know that. If you want to record something, like he needed to record all the proceedings. It's a woman in your house, you want her out of your house. All the odds and ends and details about why she was there, should she have been there, blah blah blah. Well, she's the mother of his child. Then you're going to put her out on the streets. Well, I don't think that's what he did. I think he was sending her to a hotel. I don't know. It was a lot of messy details. I don't know, but they weren't together, and he wanted her out of the house. That's just reality is reality. He wanted her out of the house, and he got right to get her out of his house. She's been there for 3 months unwanted, and like, hey, we're not together. Yes, we have a child, but you can't live here. I tend to believe that he made some type of provisions to get her somewhere with a roof over her head. If she was taking the baby with her, I'm assuming that her and the baby had somewhere to go with a roof, running water, electricity. That's the assumption. Now, recording the act of kicking a woman out of your house is the smartest thing you can do. It's just no other way around that. The dumbest, the thing that's dumb about it that you don't have to do, that I will never understand why they do it. You don't have to go live on the gram. You can just push record on your phone and just have it in your personal file. There are things that I had to record. Okay. I had to record a lot of stuff, and record it I did. And some of it I ended up using 2 years later. It's just the facts of reality. Some of it I had to use later in a custody battle. Some of it I didn't have to use. But you record it, you put it on your phone. I'm trying to find my phone, but yeah, you put it on your phone and you just keep it. Okay. Maybe you can put her out without a hitch. Okay. Maybe you could walk in there and say, hey, you got to go. You got to get up out of here. Hut, get your stuff. Let's go. Maybe you could do that and she will actually leave. Maybe. Big maybe. But maybe that can happen. Let's just say that happened. But you got the recording. Okay? You got the recording. You asked her to leave, she left, it was recorded. You asked her to leave, she didn't leave, and she made a big scene and things went down. Okay, you got the recording. It's filed away for your own safekeeping. Now understand that they do it for clout and social media and this or that or blah blah blah. That gotta stop. I'm setting the celebrities aside right now. I'm talking about regular people. And this goes back to something me and Queen Q talked about when we was talking about spanking kids and whatnot. People used to record themselves spanking their kids. It's like people just have it stuck in their head that the world got to see everything. The stuff is ridiculous. Like that is the dumbest thing. So it's not even just a part of celebrity culture at that point. It's not just celebrity culture doing it. It's regular people just recording that very personal stuff. You know, after my whole custody battle and everything was over, every recording that I had, you want to know what I did with it? I deleted it. It's done. It was some stuff I needed to record. I recorded it. It was some stuff that I used in court that I sent to the arbitrator to help her make her decision. She made her decision. She decided in my favor. The judge looked at everything, and the judge basically ruled and agreed with the arbitrator. So the arbitrator, I don't know, the guardian ad litem. Shout out to the lead attorney. I be forgetting the name of some of this stuff. They call it different stuff. Well, no, that guardian ad litem. I think that's the lawyer for the kid. Okay, I'm going to botch the lingo. It was called an arbitrator in my state. The person who moderated. How you go in and they ask you a bunch of questions, and based off what you say in those questions determines the order that she writes up. And that order that she writes up, she hands that, and she writes up everything. She puts a score on it based off 9 different categories. And of those 9 categories, if you have 6 in your ex-wife or baby mama or whatever got 3, that means you won. You were viewed to be the better parent in more categories. So it could be, so then she might make a recommendation that, okay, let's go 50, like I won in practically every category on the second time around. It was crazy. I lost in every category on the first time around, but I won in every category on the second time around because I had the evidence. I came armed with the evidence. So when I won in practically every category, when I lost in practically every category, when it was no evidence, it was her word against mine. The judge just looked at what the arbitrator wrote up and said, "Okay, we're going with that. we're going with that." When I came back and armed with evidence, armed with an orgy of evidence, the judge looked at all that evidence and said, "Okay, we're going to side this way." So it's about winning that meeting with the arbitrator. That's what it's all about. Ain't about the judge. The judge is lazy. The judge is lazy in those situations. The judge wants to just look at what the trained professional who interviewed both of you side by side. You want to look at what she said and then draw the conclusion based off that. The problem is that person in most cases is a woman who has her own biases, and it was a lot of biases in there. Because even all the evidence that I pulled out, and even though I won in every category, I still, on paper, got 50-50. Where if she would have just landslided me that bad, it would have been a whole nother story. So even then, the recommendation was still 50-50 on paper. I always say on paper because what ended up happening in reality is different. It was on paper, but so I'm trying not to get too deep into that. I'm saying all of that to say is that record it. You got any interaction going on with a woman that may possibly, if it's a 5% chance that this may come up in court, record it. After it gets used, after it gets presented, wherever it gets presented to, like in my case, it got presented to an arbitrator. She saw it. Maybe somewhere in the courthouse, somewhere it's in some file on a computer somewhere in the courthouse. But I know after everything was over, I didn't even need the stuff no more. I deleted it. I didn't even want my kids to pull it up. I didn't want nobody to see it. Like I'm worried about my kids seeing it later and all kind of stuff like that. But this dude, he don't care if the world sees his whole situation play out with the mother of his kids. So I'm like, these are stupid people. These are stupid people. It's no other way around that. No other way around that. These are stupid people. So I can put the stupid people to the side and hope that the general public, the rest of us, the most of us, are smart enough to do things right, to dot your I's, cross your T's. You need to record something. Record it for yourself, not for the gram. Record it for yourself, not for the gram. There was plenty of recordings that I had that I didn't even have to use. It's just shout out to Black Wolf Inc. in the building. Says salute, Captain. Check your email if you didn't see my response. Absolutely, absolutely. And Black Wolf Inc. Let me dig it up. Let me dig it up. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. in the building. Also, shout out to my man, Great Britain. Even the so-called providers and protectors don't get submission from them. They are truly overrated. I'm with a BW, and I see what SYSBM saying. Shout out to Great Britain, long time supporter. Shout out to Great Britain. Yeah, I have no idea how much coffee I spilled this morning. It's a ritual spilling this coffee. But yeah. But no, shout out to Great Britain. Shout out to Great Britain once again. And yeah, I was gonna get into that. You know, this ain't an SYSBM channel, but a lot of SYSBM brothers are definitely friends of the show. Shout out to SKC and Pablo. And it was SKC, since I brought him up, who made those on-screen graphics for me that you see. I made my own, and they kind of sucked. It's kind of sloppy, and he just like cleaned it up for me. Yeah, I can see the Instagram right there, Bernard Riley Show. You know, become a member. Yeah, I see the Cash App right there, the logo in the upper right. Like I love it. I love it. Looks good. So shout out to SKC cleaning that up for me. Shout out to SKC. Pablo says we in here. So yeah, so one thing that I was about to ultimately get into after hold on, let me do this real quick. That one thing that I got to get into, I talk about the personal recordings and people recording themselves whooping their kids and just doing all kind of stuff. This stuff is just stupid. It's stupid. But as far as the women goes, you know, the options that's out there. And listen, I ain't scorch earth with it. I'm not. But we know what's going on here. I always say, no matter how bumpy the terrain is, a man has to figure out how to ride on that terrain. You got to figure out how to operate and how to move in the world that he live in. In the world, the environment is the environment. The environment is the environment. And the options as I see it, and shout out to me and Ike. Me and Ike, and I like to have deep conversations like this. Like me and Ike had a conversation about how do you correct this thing on a macro scale? You know, how do you correct this thing and move the needle on that? And I do like to think deeply like that. But in the meantime, because correcting something on a macro scale could take years, it could take decades. You're doing it wrong. And I said this before, I said to a guy on my show, you're doing it wrong if you're sitting around waiting for women to change so you can get a girl. Like you're doing it wrong. Okay. You got to figure out how to drive on the road that's in front of you. And shout out to Pablo, you can get a passport and fly right over that road. That's one way to do it. Shout out to Ramil, you could just keep it casual and be pumping and dumbing. I guess I'll say shout out to me that, you know, you can narrow down your I had to stop dealing with just any old thing, and I narrowed down the type of women that I would deal with, and increased the probability that I end up with one that was pretty solid. And my chick, she pretty solid. Got a good head on her shoulders. She's one of the ones that make sense, because I got to a point where I was ready to just to focus on things I need to do in my life. Chasing women, yeah, they say make it 5% of your time, but reality is for depending on how you do it, if you out there, pursuing women can be time consuming. Some people know how to be quick and efficient with it. Okay, good for you. It could be time consuming. It could take up just a lot of your I don't know. it just take up a lot of your energy. It could take up a lot of your energy. I got out of the game. I got focused on things I needed to build, things I needed to take care of, and it was cool to find, to just get one chick. Just get one chick, deal with this chick. She on board. She do what I say, when I say it, how I say it. She should, and so I can rock with that. I can rock with that. It's like you know how they say sometimes you got to check out of the game and get focused on your purpose. Well, I wasn't going MGTOW month checking all the way out of the game, getting focused on my purpose. But I get with one real one and focus on my purpose, as long as she's adding to it and not taking away from it. That was ultimately where I was at with it. That was ultimately where I was at with it. But when I was out there, don't get it twisted. I enjoyed the game. It was a tedious game. I'm an introvert. I don't like being out there. I don't like going to clubs. I don't like swiping with a chick. Let's meet up. Let's do this. Going here. Going. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's a tedious job. It's a task. I don't like doing it, but I enjoyed the outcome. To put it mildly, to put it bluntly, even though I try to keep the first hour of my show clean, I enjoyed the new pussy. I really did. I really did. But I didn't. I just the hunt. I didn't like the hunt. So I definitely, found a solid win and got out of the hunt, and that made me able to just focus more on the things I needed to accomplish and the things I needed to get done, which I've done, which I've gotten a lot of things accomplished. I've gone from working for somebody else to being able to. I got offered a job. I mean, I've told this story before. Where I was going to school, picking up a trade. I got offered a job. I was able to say no because while I was working on learning that trade, I was also building businesses to the point where like I could go work for somebody else right now if I want to. I can. However, I don't have to. What they was going to pay me, I was making more working for myself. So I said no. Now there's people, shout out to Ike. People like Ike will say, no, we're doing both. There's some people who are of the doing both philosophy. I'm not. Focus your time and energy in the stuff that got your name on it. That's where I'm at with it. And that's what I've ultimately done. So, rather you find one that's solid, rather you keep it casual, because some people get triggered by pump and dump, even though I interpret pump and dump as just casual sex. That's all I interpret it as. It's just casual sex. So if you find you a real one, that's cool. If you keep it casual, that's cool. Get a passport, that's cool. Whatever you got to do to win in the modern game. And one thing that you may need to do to win in the modern game, yeah, you may have to get your money up. I know a lot of y'all don't like game. You may have to learn some game, some do's and some don'ts. You may have to learn that. Let's just keep it real. It matters. It matters. We see with a lot of people that you could be that dude. You could have the looks, you could have the money, but if you're moving goofy out here, you will end up in a stupid situation. So you need to learn how not to move goofy. It just is what it is. Ice in the building, the channel members. Shout out to everybody who's becoming channel members. I think it's like 34 or 35 of y'all. I'm going to do something where I'm going to keep the names updated on the list, sort of like what I had with the Patreon list that I still haven't updated. I'm going to keep the channel member names updated on the list and make them scroll up and down the screen. I'm going to figure out how to do that right for y'all, because I got to do something to acknowledge y'all a little better. But he said, Bernard, take it from an old guy. Keep your eyes open. Everything is temporary with most women. Oh, who you telling? Who you telling? I know that. I know that. I know that. That's why I'm always I'm always evaluating regularly the situation. That's just a blunt, brute reality of it. A chick who on point today might not be on point tomorrow. So you got to constantly manage the situation, constantly manage it. And if, situation I got going right now, in the event that situation will come unsituated, then hey, I got to do what I got to do. But right now I can say very firmly and positively that everything is great. Everything is great. I talked about how my business, it's I got an LLC now because I didn't want to do an LLC because I was on some, let me make some money first. Let me prove that I can make some money before I go putting an LLC on something. Now, what I like about my ladies, she's she's better than me at reading long 20-page documents. My ADD kick in on that stuff, but I'll like for example, shout out to Ramil. When Ramil talked about that infrastructure bill, I was like, that Biden infrastructure bill. So I went to reading some stuff on that. I was like trying to figure out, man, how can my LLC get some money off of this Biden infrastructure bill? Let me try to figure that out. and I love that I could send stuff to her, be like, hey, go read this and figure out how my LLC can get some money off of that. I love that I could do that. So, she I ain't trying to see. I don't teach game, but that's some next level game. You get a woman on your team, you make her an employee, you make her work for you. That's what you do. I mean, but I ain't got no game. But I mean, make them work for you. That's all I'm saying. That's where I'm at with it. Make them work for you, like So that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. Make them work for you. Make sure you're benefiting off of it. Make sure that you in the black while you're with them, and make sure that they ain't putting you in the red in any way, shape, or form. That's just all to it. Break it down to dollars and cents, or just keep it casual. that's a viable option. That is a very that is one of the best options. Joe Ethereal in the building with the $10 super chat. Speaking of Passport Brothers. Speaking of Passport Bros, Joe Ethereal with the $10 super chat.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want. Everything? Everything. You.
Shout out to Joe Ethereal. That don't stop being funny. That one will never stop being funny. Shout out to Great Britain once again with another one. Great Britain with the $2 super chat.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Says, congrats on establishing the limited liability corp. Absolutely. And some people, and there's different schools of thoughts on that, where like my school of thought was, I didn't want to start an LLC just to start an LLC. I wanted to, make a business, establish it, make some money, get money off of that business. And then I wanted to, oh damn, I got a phone call. Like, people don't know I'm on the air. Yeah, I wanted to get things going, I wanted to get things established before I started doing that. But some people say, no, just start the LLC anyway. It's better to just have it, just start it. I think that's part of what Ramil was alluding to when he was talking about a lot of these black women have all these businesses. And yes, it's true that black men make more money from, I think, like 66 or 60%, if not 60, something like 60, somewhere between 60-65% of money that's made from black businesses are made from black male-owned businesses. But black women still own like over 60 to 65% of black businesses. They own more businesses than us, but black male-owned businesses make more money than theirs. However, they are getting these LLCs. Are they doing anything with them? Are they making any money off of it? No, but they got a LLC. They have a limited liability corp. So when these something like the Biden infrastructure bill, it's more, yeah, I mean, you kind of got to have a construction company of some sort. It's more about land and roads and this. So, but either way, when these type of bills get passed or these type of initiatives, or whatever it is going on, you got that LLC, you got legit, you could show a business that you that you filed some taxes on. It, you you're making steps right now to put yourself in position to where when an opportunity come, you are ready. It's not like, oh, I don't got the paperwork for this, I don't got to know. You got everything ready right there. Boom, 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 boom. So that's one area where we are missing the mark. Actually, I heard Anton talk about that everybody should just be operating like a business. You should, if you got an LLC, you got a business, whatever kind of expenses you got going on throughout the day related to the business, write it off. It's ways you do stuff like that. You put yourself in position where, when something come up, them PPP loans, all that stuff, you got a business, you got an LLC, you legit on paper, you in position. Black Wolf Inc. once again in the building. He says, I wonder what kind of panel discussion will go down today. Something tells me, oh man, will be the kickoff point as usual. One more time. Hold on, I can't see that because something is blocking it. Okay, one more time for your boy. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Black Wolf. So yeah, brothers do need to be getting them LLCs. Getting you can start a construction company and don't got a goddamn don't got a piece of equipment. You got a construction company on paper. You can go get part of that Biden that Biden infrastructure bill. you got a construction company on paper. You don't own a hammer. You can go get that Biden money all day. But yeah, but it's a number of things. But like I was saying, the options that's out there, passport, keep it casual, or I hate the term, no, pick better, but it's true. Depending on what you're looking for, what you want. Now, if you you Juicy J, you can't say no to ratchet women. Keep it casual. Don't be keeping them around. Don't be bussing in them. Like it's just the dumbest thing on earth. But when card carrying buffoons like who like somebody who walk around with the name the baby get caught up in something like that, it's like, okay, cool, I can see it. That we get that. We get that he gonna get caught up in that. I hate when dudes more on the regular side of things get caught up in that. It's like, come on, man. Come on, we can't make an excuse for that. Can't make an excuse for that. You getting ratchet chicks pregnant. No excuse, man. All right, but one more thing. We almost on an hour. Almost ready to open this thing up. One question that I'll put out there, and this is always in the backdrop whenever we see celebrities going through major problems like this. Do women, and I was going to make this a title of the show, but I just wanted to clout chase off some celebrities. But do women conform to the man that they're with? I be hearing this argument. Oh yes, this argument gets thrown out there. Like women just conform to the guy that they're with. They shape themselves around that. Me and my woman actually was having a, I don't know if to call it a debate, but a discussion about that. And she actually, she thought that they did, because I think that's how she is. I think that's how she is. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that's how she is. Al Boogie saying no. Shout out to Al Boogie with the no, with a good strong firm no to that one. And I hear you on that. See, this is the argument. This is in Lady Miss Thing. Lady Miss Thing says yes. You can come up and explain that if you would like. I'll put the link in the chat. But this is the This is the argument that if you're a man and you're on point and you're doing what you're supposed to do, oh, excuse me, this coffee got me. I don't know what they put in there. If you're a man and you're on point and you're doing what you're supposed to do, a woman is going to see you and she's going to, I got a little dirt on my shoulder. Damn. It's this big monitor that I'm looking at my cell phone. I can see every little thing with something in my beard. Okay. If you're a man and you're on point and you're doing what you're supposed to do, a woman is going to conform around you. But even if you're not on point, if a woman chooses to be with you, she's going to conform to your dysfunction, your whatever going on with you that's not right about you is going to be not right about her. If everything is right about you, things will be right about her. She's going to conform to you. They're like dogs. Dogs do take on the personality of their owner. You get a dog who has an owner who likes to run and go jogging, the dog is happy to go jogging. If you got an owner who lazy, lay on the couch, watch TV all day, what the dog do? They just lay down on the floor and get fat and lazy too. That's essentially the argument. The woman is going to conform to you and whatever you are. Now I say that that's not the case. That's where I'm at with it. And I will always say, well, how is it then that you will have a guy? He could be, he could be solid. He could he could be a solid, industrious, upright, strong in character and all of this and everything. But the woman get with him and she gets do some outright wild out wayward stuff. How is that possible? And then the counter argument to that is, oh, well, you need to not pick that wayward woman. You picked her right. You picked her right. They start grabbing stuff out the air. You picked her right. They start doing all of that, and then it's like, wait, hold on. See, what they fail to realize is that you can't have both of those arguments. You can't have both of those. You can't say that in one breath that a woman will conform to a man, and whatever that man is, that's what that woman will be, and that's how she will act, and that's how she will that's how her behavior, character, and actions will manifest. But then turn around when we point out that no, this is a solid, upright dude. She's not acting solid and upright with him. Oh, well, he picked a wayward woman. Well, hold on. You can't say that he needs to pick better or need to pick the right woman and then turn around and also say that she's going to conform to him. Then by that logic, it doesn't matter who you pick. It doesn't matter who you pick. If they're going to conform to you, you should just be able to pick you. You should just be able to be on point. Pick her at random and she's going to conform to you if the first premise is true. But the fact that when you trap them on that, they will make the pick better argument, thus refuting their original argument. So it's one thing that I do. I'm passionate about picking apart gaslighting arguments that people throw at men. I'm passionate about picking apart what's wrong with that, because I see that all the time in these discussions. People will talk out of both sides of their mouth and not realize it, or they will realize it and still talk out of both sides of their mouth. But you can't have both of those arguments and both of those ideas at the same time. They both can't exist. It's contradictory. It is contradictory. And that's what I wanted to say on that. Now, finished almost precisely right at the 1 hour mark. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure I hit the like button. I'm pretty sure that I hit the like button already, even though sometimes I forget. But we about to open this thing up. Dropping open this thing up. They have to believe women ain't shit for it to work. Explain what you mean. I'm a little lost by what you mean by that. Or maybe you're responding to Black Wolf. They can both sides by saying they ain't shit. Okay. I think I get what you're saying. I think I understand what you're saying. I think I understand where you're going. If by saying that she's going to conform to you, then okay. No, I don't know. What is going on? Bernard Riley tells that to divested zealot. I have no idea who that is. Yeah, I don't know. Looks like Black Wolf and Ty City got some back and forth going on in the chat. I don't exactly know what's going on, but the link is in the chat for whoever wants to come up and have a piece of this. Whoever wants to come up and have a piece of this topic, of this discussion, you can give your thoughts on what went on with that whole the baby situation. I think I've exhausted all the fuel out of talking about Brittany Renner and PJ Washington. Oh, shout out to GMB, Grown Man Business. I don't know if he was the first one to say it. He's the first one that I saw say it, and I think it's a really good point that went over my head. That, you know, even though I get the business of Kevin Samuels talking to Brittany Renner, him doing a one-on-one sit-down discussion with PJ Washington would have been a much better discussion. That was a good point. I don't know if GMB was the first one to say that. He's the first one that I saw say it, and I was like, yeah, that would have been it. And I think he got the platform in the pull. I think he could pull that off. And maybe he tried, maybe he didn't. But I think he could definitely pull that off. I think that will definitely that's really the discussion, you know. Because like I said, even though Kevin Samuels talked to women, he doing the hat trick, the tightrope walk of talking to women while advocating for men, while giving advice to women. But the advice that he's giving them is ultimately advice that will, well, I'll say most of it, maybe not all of it, but most of it is advice that will ultimately put them in a position of understanding their place when dealing with the man. It's advice that ultimately will get men a better deal. And I know some people would disagree with that because some people think he's still just a typical get the bag channel. So he's basically trying to teach women how to finesse men. I know some of y'all think that. But that ain't how I perceive what's going on there. Like I always say, that's the high value man is the carrot that he dangled to get them in, to come in and tell them they don't qualify, but this is what you qualify for. You better get on board with the dude you actually qualify for, because your little average at best behind can't finesse dudes like a Brittany Renner. Or even if you can, you got a shorter shelf life. Average chick only gonna be able to finesse the guy working the assembly line for so long. Eventually, it get to the point where she can't finesse him. But one thing that I was talking about, and hopefully GC don't mind, Game Changer hopefully don't mind. Me and him actually had a talk about this off the air, but it was like an on the air discussion, but off the air. But I just want to preface it by saying it was, you know, off the air, but it was nothing major that was said, at least in this portion of the off the air discussion. But I do got to acknowledge the point that was made when I was talking. Well, actually, no, I didn't even have to bring that up because I'm really only saying what I said. But anyway, you remember when Kevin Samuels in the it was on Fresh and Fit back many moons ago when they were all friends. But back many moons ago when Kevin Samuels was on Fresh and Fit, and those three OnlyFans feminists. Well, one of them with white hair and had that little scratchy party girl voice, where, you know, she'd been partying from 19 to 32, and her voice just sound like Marge Simpson. That chick with that Marge Simpson voice. Well, she sounded like Marge Simpson's sisters, really. But that chick, you know, and two other OnlyFans chicks, and Kevin Samuels was sitting there talking about how it's such a short shelf life with that. you hot right now, but it'll be a new it girl pretty soon. But one thing to point out, and this does speak to that it's certain type of women that and because Ty City and Ramil been trying to go in on this, and Ramil did a real good stream when he did something for Adam 22, where Pimp was on there talking to one of the finesse chicks, one of them chicks that be finessing dudes. She said she viewed men as a business, and I was like, wow, that was like that's deep. But I mean, of course that, but it just I never heard him word it that way. I'll just say that I never heard him exactly word it that way. It was interesting. It was interesting when I listened to what Mill was talking about and how you can't pin an L on these chicks, and Ty City been talking about that. You can't pin an L on them. It's a lot of them that you can't convince them of anything, because they're essentially, if they can go dance at a club, make a couple thousand, or they can get to the point where they making 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 a month on OnlyFans. I'm talking about the percentage of them of which it applies. You can't convince them that anything that there's nothing you could say to convince them that they're doing something wrong, that any L's is being taken. And Tyson and Ramil, I gotta give them credit. I gotta give them credit. They are right. Excuse me. They are right for drilling down on that. They said broad. They said it more broadly that you can't pin an L on these chicks, but I say it's a smaller percentage of them you can't, because even when he was talking about the shelf life of OnlyFans is not that long. If a chick have a 3 to 5 year run, let's just say she from 23 to 28, she make $300,000 a year on OnlyFans from 23 to 28. I'm like, that's you can't convince her that when I went back and looked at that stream after listening to what Tyson and Ramil was talking about, it's like you can't really convince them that they were that they shouldn't do that. It's almost like convincing an NBA player, because a lot of people don't know this. This is the part that me and Game Changer was talking about. A lot of people don't know this. The average NBA player, the average NBA career is something like I think it was like 2 or 3 years long. A lot of people don't know that. Average NBA career, 2 or 3 years long. Those guys get in there in that 2 or 3 year run where they can make anywhere, at the bottom, maybe 400,000 a year, maybe 700,000, $600,000 a year for a little 3-year stretch. It's like, you can't beat that. Now, hopefully you save up the money. Hopefully, the 2 or 3 years you did in college that you could probably, or 1 year, maybe you can have that money saved. You got a nice little insurance plan. I mean, not sure, but nice little safety net, nice little mad money put away, and then you get through there, and then maybe you can go back to school, start preparing for regular life. But you made, $1.5 million over the course of 3 years. Like, you can't beat that. And so when I re-listened to that, I was like, man, it did. And I was thinking that it was at the tip of my tongue when I heard it the first time. I was like, regardless of how it's going to play out in the long term, the chicks, as they say, the hoes are winning, even if it's a shelf life, even if it's just a 23 to 28, 21 to 26 year, 21 years old to 26-year-old shelf life on it. They're still short-term winning. If they could maximize that time and make $300, $400, $500,000 a year during that time, and then they probably dumb as hell and not doing nothing. Even though they front like, I got businesses, I got this, some of them just be dumb as hell, don't be doing the damn thing with it. But you can't, if you're trying to convince OnlyFans chicks, and that was a problem that I had with that conversation. You can't convince OnlyFans chicks that they losing. And it was when Ramil had covered that pimp that was on Adam 22, No Jumper, I was cracking up laughing. It's like, what is he trying to, what game can he possibly give a chick who know that she can just fast, quick, make money off a dude like that? What game can you give him? What game can you give her? And that's one thing I always said about the pimping game. But I don't even know why men were ever. Well, I mean, I know why they were needed at one point, but now it's to the point where it's it's like the men become irrelevant. They can literally just be their own boss and do their own thing, and just have like a 5-year run where they clean up, and they find themselves over 30, and they just gradually just cycle back into regular life after essentially being in the NBA for 5 years. It's like it's like, yeah, you can't you can't pin an L on them. Black Wolf saying they jumped the shark on this issue. No, the only area where I disagree with them is that if they're talking about women on a broad scale in general, an L can be pinned on the average chicks, but if you and it was a slight, I don't want to say a straw man, but but I don't think nobody was ever arguing that a chick who can finesse her way or twerk or booty clap or OnlyFans or just finesse her way to $400,000 a year need to get with the regular average working stiff. I don't think nobody was arguing that, and that's what it sounded like that at some times that they was responding to. But other than that, no, I think it was on point if they're talking about just the OnlyFans, the chicks who went in at the level of a couple $100,000 a year when it come to just getting the bag off men and keeping it moving, not attached to or committed to none of them. You just getting the bag, and you're a free agent getting the bag off men. It's hard to pin an L on them. It's hard to convince them that ain't nothing changing there. Ain't nothing changing there. Now, I don't think that applies to regular people, even though it is a lot of regular chicks who, and it's funny. It's funny because as a regular guy who had access to a lot of regular women, I know how the regular woman finesse game go. It go like this. You're talking to them for a little bit, y'all texting. Y'all might talk on the phone once, and they start throwing out into the conversation, my cell phone about to get cut off. when they throw that in the conversation, just casually throw into the conversation, my cell phone, yeah, because my cell phone about to get cut off in a little bit, and I'm like,
what the fuck that got to do with me?
that's the regular chick finesse game. She ain't about to get 100,000, 200, 400,000 off of dudes, but she could find a simp to pay her cell phone bill. That's the regular chick finesse game. Them chicks do end up losing. They do. They do. I think those chicks do end up losing. But those ones who could do it at a high level, shout out to Game Changer again when he said, when chicks be like, hoes is winning, what they really saying is them hoes that are better hoes than me, who can get more than an occasional cell phone bill paid by a simp, they winning. Why? Because they getting put in yachts. You crossing your fingers hoping you get a cell phone bill paid. Shout out to Red Sings the Blues, coming through live, clear.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to Red Sings the Blues in the building with the $2. Code, my man Code still in the building. Shout out to Code. So I got to hit you up, man. I gotta see your update. I remember when you was up here, we was talking about your travels through on the dating apps. Lucario came up here, gave you some good game. And very shockingly, OG J Speed came up here and gave you some. I'm playing with my camera, don't mind me. I'm trying to see where hold on. All right, I think I'm trying to find the exact focus area. Like you can see when I lean back here, I'm out of focus. And then when I come back, right, I'm trying to see where do I think right there. I think that's the exact focus spot right there. Okay, I think that's it. Lucario came up, gave you some really good game. I hope you took his advice. And OG surprisingly, shockingly came up and gave you some really good game. Gave you some really good games. So I want to do an update. May not do an update show, but I do want to see if you've done what they said and if you've gotten some results. But shout out to Coach. So he says the best insurance is to only pick women who are close to your level in education and finance, but everyone loves to hate on successful career women. Again, bruh, you told us about your shortcomings. So whatever you were doing, it wasn't working for you. Because so you got to get out of this advice giving. Okay? Take the advice that was given to you and report back to us whether or not it worked out for you. That's what we want to know. That's what we want to know. But you can't just be giving advice, bruh. But shout out to you. I like that brother. His honesty. He came up and just put it all out there. Put it all out there plain and clear. Put it out there plain and clear. That his current situation and predicament with the women. And how it's not going so well, but he's out there trying. He's out there trying. He's getting on that horse. And shout out to Lucario and OG. They gave him some good game. I hope he used it. Shout out to Ice once again with another one. He said, let's just keep it 100. Brittany is above average chick that simp. Brittany is above average chick that simp juiced up. Remove the makeup and fake weave and nails. Then you the real person. I'll say this about Brittany Renner. She do be looking good when she all did up, but I will say this. She, in those pictures, not the pictures. What are they going to say? That first video, the first video that where I ever heard about her, okay? The very first one. That was when she was talking about how athletes are stupid and she have raw sex with a lot of them. That was the first time I ever heard of her. And in that video, where she was just in a car with no makeup on, she looked cute. I mean, she was cute. She looked, 7-ish. But when she get all did up, I see how people be saying, oh yeah, she in 9-10 territory. But fresh face, she was fresh face, no filter in that picture, as they say. And she looked okay. I shouldn't say okay. I mean, she was definitely cute. I mean, so I understand what you're saying with her. Andre Hatchet in the building. Shout out to AC Hatchet. I'm not going to play the what you get for $10 for AC, but I do appreciate AC coming on through. Kyoki Day. I think I said that right. Kyoki Day. I got Obsidian down in the back chat. Kyoki, I think that's Kyoki Day in the building. He says, in most regular women's mind, whoever gets the most attention is deemed the winner. Yeah, I think they got a lot to do with the colorism stuff. They view it as the light-skinned women get the most attention, and that's what they mad. It's a lot of dark-skinned women that have wonderful options. They just mad because they don't get as many. They don't feel like they get as much attention when they hit the club as light-skinned chicks. Shout out to you, and shout out to Great Britain once again. Where on Pornhub is the section? That's a good one. Said, where on Pornhub is the section career women? Well, you want to type in Naughty America, and there's a lot of you get to see a lot of office ladies getting bent over the desk. Those are career women getting bent over the desk by their supervisor. And on that note, Obsidian, how's you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Doing great.
Great. Pardon me while we do a proper introduction here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good jumping off point. I think the brother Cold Steel ain't wrong for what he said. I think the tendency, and I've noticed this, it happened to me It happened to Kevin. It happened to April Mason. If anybody who weighs in on a mating piece and they're not like this perfect saint and angel and paragon of virtue, then black folks want to just disregard you out of hand. I think that's downright silly. I think that what the brother Cold Steel said is empirically and scientifically sound. We know about assortative mating. Like attracts like, and people who are educated and professional almost invariably, pair off with people who are also educated and professional. So he's right to point out, yeah, you need to focus on, a woman that's closer to you in terms of those things. Generally speaking, there are notable exceptions, of course, but generally speaking, yeah, that's accurate. He's not wrong for saying that. Going to the good brother, Great Britain, who asked the earnest question, where on is the career section? I do one better, Bernard. It's called Milfs. You look up Milfs in the categories, you're going to see librarians, you're going to see boss chicks, you're going to see various women in not only professional women, but more often than not, women in authority positions. They're very common in the adult film world, if you will, the MILF category. That's typically how the MILF thing goes down. It's an older woman who is very attractive for her age, much more than the norm for a woman of her age would be. So let's take a woman that's in her 40s. A MILF would be a woman that's very attractive for a woman that you would expect that's middle age. She's much more attractive than you would expect. And those women are typically portrayed in the adult film genre as women, being in professional positions and usually authoritative positions at that. So that's very common. That's very common in the adult film world. Women that are professional women and women that hold some degree of authority. That's very common, man. Because one of the tropes of the MILF is that she typically is getting with a much younger man.
Mm-hmm.
So she may be in her 40s, and the guy that she's getting with is, in his late teens, or at the very least in his 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I still don't know if they could package it as career woman as a category.
Absolutely, they can. Absolutely, they can. Hell yeah.
As the title, when you go down the list of titles and you get I'm not going to name off all the different categories, but I've never seen that category. However, when I did, I mentioned I'll say this and mess up the algorithm. I mentioned the outfit called Naughty America, where basically they play on a lot of what you're talking about, where I mean, a lot of times it's the woman's secretary, and she's bent over the desk by the boss. I mean, you know the routine, but but a lot of times they play on that. But then within that, it is a situation where it may be a teacher who's who fits the description of what you just described, and she's with the student. I'm fumbling because I'm trying to throw off my algorithm here, but we get the point. So, but they do play on that, on the chick at the job, the naughty nurse that goes back forever to the beginning.
That would be a professional career woman, would it not?
Yeah. So, but I don't think they could package it and sell it category wise as career woman.
Hell yeah, they could. Hell yeah.
Explain. You're strolling down there and you see.
Are you familiar with Mexican MILF? Hot to death. Galley something or other. I can't remember her name now. Galley I can't remember her name. Galley Diva. That's her name. GALI. Look her up, Galley Diva.
Wait,
Whole lot of material of her posing, as a career lady, boss lady. That's the setup. Out of Mexico City.
Okay, wait. Before we explore that a little more, somebody said, "Why is Bernard whispering?" I'm looking at the circle pulsate. It's actually just on your end when you was listening before you came up and everything. My audio, it sounded okay, right?
Everything sounds great.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ignore the individual who said I was whispering. Well, hold on. Before we go back into that, Great Britain in the building. He says, "MILF is a mom." Where's the degree section? Yeah, but okay.
You can't be both.
Yeah, you can be both, but he has a point. That sort of goes back to my point that it's harder to just package it and sell it strictly as that. But however,
It's not harder to do that.
chick, hold on. No, I'm with you because there is something about the chick who's in some sexy office attire where her skirt is a little too high, or her her everything is balled up just right there in the little, in the heels are a little too tall for work. They sell that and make it look almost believable, but enough to make so I get it, but when you clicking down the categories, they call it something else other than career woman. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean it's something that, I mean, now we get into the area of splitting hairs. We both understand. You look up MILF category. They did a parody on what's her name, Sarah Palin. I mean, come on, man. That's part of the appeal of the. I've been saying this for years, telling brothers for years to read the book. A Billion Wicked Thoughts. You want to know what the number 2 search result worldwide on porn is for men? Number 2 worldwide, MILF, older women.
Number 1.
Number 1 is teens.
Younger women.
Right. That's number 1. That's number 1. But number 2 is MILF.
It's like that's very specific. Like it's either one younger or older. It's
yep. and a big part of the appeal of the older one. I mean, think about it. The school teacher, she's a person of authority. Is she not?
Yeah. Okay. I typed in. See, I was going to type in MILF and just on Google and hit images and then just show everybody what popped up. But apparently, I can't. Apparently, I can't show you what popped up. It's no. It's, won't work for YouTube. But however, there's an office setting in one of the pictures. There's an office setting in one of the pictures where the guy's in a suit and she looked like she got some her office. Well, no, they're over a desk at an office. They're on a desk at an office.
That's a very common trope. Is the older woman is invariably a woman in authority. That's the trope. But think about the nurse. The sexy nurse is in authority. Who's in the power position there? Is she in authority, or is it the patient? The nurse is in authority there.
Yeah.
The nurse is the one that has the power dynamic there.
Kinda, but not okay. Yeah, I mean, if he's laid up and she's operating on him in some type of way. Yeah, okay.
So that's part of the appeal of the MILF category, the older woman, which has been around for a long time. Type in Candy Samples. That dates back to the 60s. This is nothing new. Speaking of the 1960s, Dustin Hoffman, of course. Mrs. Robinson. That all of that, The Graduate, all of that sort of thing. The whole point of the older woman is that part of the appeal is that she's in authority and has a power position. That's part of the appeal of being an older woman.
Okay. I mean, I understand, and to each his own.
Whereas with the teen category, I mean, like I said, number 1, number 2. So whereas with the teen category, the appeal is that the man is in the power position. Now you go and look at the teen category, you don't see a whole bunch of Blue Lagoon type couples. That is to say, that was a movie in the 80s. That is to say, you got a teenage guy and a teenage girl and they going at it. No, the number one dynamic going on there is that you got these teen or very young women with much older men. This is all on Pornhub and all the rest of it. You can look it up. It's right there. That's the power dynamic. The younger she is, the more likely she is not to be in the power position. It's going to be an older man in the power position. So when black women, for example, bringing it to black American dating and mating in the 21st century, when black women, and they're invariably older, get upset with older black men for wanting younger black women, when they say that they want somebody that they can control and mold, they're not lying about that. They're not wrong. There's a lot of truth in that. They're not wrong for pointing that out. The problem with a lot of the older black women is that they lack the outright sex appeal that the MILFs in the porn world have. And instead of being angry with older black men of means, and it's relative, for being able to appeal to much younger black women, what they need to do is they need to go and do an in-depth masterclass study of and study what those MILFs are doing and try to emulate that to the fullest extent. That's what they really need to be doing, so they can lean into their MILFness, if you will, and be able to meaningfully compete for mates.
Yeah, a lot of them probably don't realize that the popularity of the term MILF has in many ways given them a second life that they could possibly capitalize on. We could talk about how once they've reached a certain age, they're out the game, they're in the danger zone, or this or that, or blah blah blah. But no, there's a I say there's a market and a niche for almost everything. Not everything, or maybe there may be a small market, a small niche for it. So I can say that it's bare minimum a small market, a small niche for everything. But the whole concept of the MILF, they don't realize they've been dished out in assists by the P industry, the boom, the boom.
Oh yeah.
I was about to make the noise.
No, here, let me help you out there.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, they've been dished out in assists by that industry. They definitely have.
I mean, and
they're not even taking the alley oop, because they should try to walk in that, and not completely trashy with it. But that's why I sort of referenced the skirt just a little too high. Those little blouses that they wear, make them extra tight around the waist, push up bra with with the right amount of hangover, where it's a lot is there, but it ain't just too trashy, but it's there. We see it. The heel just slightly higher than what the normal office chick should wear.
Exactly.
So there's a market for that. There's a market for everything.
Well, I'm working on a book for the lovely ladies right now, and what do you think I'm going to be writing about? I'm going to be making the case to the older ladies. Older ladies defined here as latter 30s and on up into the 50s. Look, you need to lean into being a MILF. You need to really. They have this outfit called Masterclass. I know you've seen it here. They advertise it here on YouTube a lot. And Nas is teaching the Masterclass. RuPaul.
What is RuPaul teaching the Masterclass on?
How to be your authentic self, with words to that effect. I can't remember it. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's talking about. He's doing the Masterclass. My point being is, the point that I'm going to be making in my book is that ladies need to make point. Well, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get you in all kind of trouble. They need to make that a serious masterclass. They need to go to the MILF section and seriously study it. Like you said, study what the ladies are wearing. First of all, study how fit the ladies are. Because a lot of older black women just let themselves go. So that's job number one. Study how fit they are. Study the type of clothing they wear before the clothes come off and all that. Study the kind of clothing you wear, because you're 100% right, Bernard. A big part of the MILF appeal is that they wear, everyday clothes, but it's just ticked up just a notch.
Yeah, if it's too much, then it's going to look just normal skanky. It's like
right.
Exactly. She don't want to look that. She want to look natural, but sexy with it. Where it's like you could tell she's doing it, but at a glance you can't. But when you look, it's like, oh yeah, I see what she's doing. But you know that's how they want to pull it off. They can't just to use Brittany Renner's term, rock out with their cock out like a 21-year-old and just leave the house half naked. They gotta. Yeah, they gotta finesse it.
They gotta finesse it. Exactly. They gotta take the everyday mundane and kick it up just a bit. Mm-hmm. Just a bit. That's it. Like, for example, I think April Mason goes too far. I think April Mason would be perfect if she just dialed it back just a little bit. Because she's the prototypical black MILF right there. She would be perfect. She goes too far, like you said. That's a younger woman's game. Skank game. Straight out slut game. We mentioned Brittany Renner. She's now starting to, age up now. So she's 29, getting ready to go into 30. So once she crosses that, the official MILF category is 35 and up. So she's got a few more years, but she's clearly getting older. That sort of thing is for a younger woman. And I've noticed that black women do one or two things when they're older. That is to say, on the other side of 35, they either continue trying to do what they did when they was younger, read, skank slut game, or they just say F it and just let the whole thing go to pot, and and they wind up looking like Big Mama on Soul Food. So the trick is for them to, like you said, you rightly pointed out, the trick is to keep the mundane, office professional looking woman, but just tick it up just a notch. That's it. That's the trick. And it is a delicate balancing act. It takes practice like anything else. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. You gotta practice with it. But that's the trick. That's the whole trick. You gotta kick it up a notch. And I think April Mason goes too far because she's titillating men in a way that you would expect of a Brittany Renner. Whereas, April Mason is staring down 50. So she should be, just kicking it up just a bit. That's it. So the really plunging neckline, that's not really necessary. Showing all that leg, that's not really necessary. Just a little bit. Like the song would say back in the day, just a little bit. And that's exactly what the MILFs do until the clothes come off.
Let's see. Black Wolf Inc. in the building. He says there may be one day I'm a PhD category on P-Hub. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. That's pretty funny. Great Britain in the building. He says I see BBW toe. Okay, let me make that bigger so I can actually see it. I see BBW toes Asians no degrees.
I'm glad he said that, because here's the thing, and this is something else I want to address in my book for the lovely ladies. The working title is the Book of Obsidian for the lovely ladies. That's not the actual title. That's just the working title. That's something that I'm glad that Great Britain brought up, because that is something that needs to be disentangled and examined in print. And that's the idea of the degree, the career, the money being a lure for black men. There are black women who want to use that as a lure, and they're wrong.
Yeah.
The problem with this, and like I said, I'm going to write this in the book. The problem with this is that the women who make the biggest stink about those things are the women who tend to be least attractive. See, what makes the MILF work is that she's an older woman that's very attractive, and she's got the career, all that. That's a nice plus. So what a lot of older black women have to do is they have to pay attention to being fit, hot, and then you can bring in your education. Then you can bring in your career. That enhances the hotness. But you can't lead with that, and then you looking like Stacey Abrams. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Shout out to Ice in the building and came through. I think it's like your third or fourth super chat. Definitely appreciate your support today and appreciate you being a member. He says, "Oh man, missing a point. Big Shirley can't be a MILF." I don't think you said that, did you?
That's exactly the point that I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's exactly the point that I'm getting at. You cannot be a MILF and you know and be big Shirley. And that reminds me, let me play this.
Look! I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it! God damn it!
Oh, and this. Yeah. You can't be
right.
big Shirley and be a MILF, man. It
And
ain't
just
gonna
for
work.
the record, neither one of those gets the copyright strike. Do it.
No.
Okay, I just making sure. Just making sure.
No.
All right. Shout out to Ice. Shout out to Ice. Shout out to everybody in the building who has hit the like button. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure you go over there and hit the like button. We got 262 people in the building. I have no idea where we at on the likes. I hit it before the show started and haven't checked back in on it. But let's make sure that we are properly supporting the stream by hitting the like button. I'm trying to get over there right now to check on the likes as we speak. We got 159 on the likes, 12 dislikes. I don't know what I said that was so dislikable today. Maybe it was like one disliked and you came up and then it immediately jumped to 12. Do you think that's what happened, Obsidian? You think that?
What was that?
I was trying to figure out how I got 12 dislikes. I don't think I said anything that was dislikable.
Yeah, that's
today.
because of me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I think I was cruising at one disliked and you came on and it just jumped right to 12.
But don't worry, it's still engagement. That means that they came out to say that they hate me. That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
That's cool.
You got active, engaged listeners, Bernard.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. I'm with it. And while we're right here, you see the become a member option down there. You see the Cash App. Shout out to SKC. Got my Instagram up there. Hopefully y'all can see that pretty well. I'm going to be doing some stuff on Instagram, but I'm moving like molasses when it comes to the gram, because I'm no big fan of the gram, but I'm eventually going to start doing some stuff on there. So you might want to go follow me on the gram. But you were live last night, if I understand that correctly, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, normally I catch most of what you got going on.
Thank you.
I don't think I saw none. What? Yeah, I missed it. I was busy doing some stuff. I forgot what I was doing, but I missed it. I normally catch you live, but I missed it. So what did you go over last night? What was the topic?
Well, I was, of course, we're still picking up on the Brittany Renner fallout, and I made the case that what I've learned from this whole situation is that there are a lot of black men who are basically the mirror image of black women. In other words, a lot of black women, in my view, based on my perusal of the evidence over the past 4 decades, are not being honest. They're not being honest about their woes in love, right? So they make the case that all the black men are in jail, on the down low, on drugs. They ain't enough black men on my level, not enough black men in college, and we know these are empirically false. All right, but they gotten a lot of gas out of that for the last 40 years. But the same thing is true for a lot of black men. A lot of black men don't want to admit that the women that they're truly attracted to are the very women that they love to talk bad about and run down and all the rest of it. And it's an interesting dynamic on both sides, because the sisters are saying hoes be winning. You don't want the good girls, and I'm saying yes, that's true. And a lot of guys say, no, that's not true. But the evidence in real time says different. You don't get millions of Instagram followers, man, if that's not true. You just don't.
Yeah, but, to that I always say, rather, it's like the pre-Instagram. The guys men have always liked to watch, Victoria's Secret pageant,
right.
The Miss America, going way back when people used to, when Miss America pageant came on, guys used to get the popcorn and pull up at them. Right now we got so much at the in the palm of our hand, like Miss America pageant. Come on, it's like whatever. But that was a big deal for a moment. I was old enough to remember that when it was like, oh man, they in bikinis walking back and forth on the stage. It was a big deal. But guys are always going to want to look at that. But the fact of the matter is, and it's studies that have ultimately shown that guys, using dating apps, for example, the guys, I think, what was it, 60 to 70% of the women on the app attractive, whereas women only find, I think, like 10% of the men on the dating apps attractive. Like men do have a broader range in the women that they like and that they will accept. But when it comes to just looking at that eye candy, I can't turn away from it.
But a lot of black men want to domesticate the hoes. They want to domesticate the wild woman.
I think the going back to my thumbnail, I think people like with a name like the baby and PJ Washington, they be trying to domesticate. Well, I don't even know if the baby is trying to domesticate him. I think he just trying to.
I lived across the street from a brother that did that. Now, he's just a regular everyday guy, and he had a hoochie that he took into his home. They had been together for some years. I used to live right across the street from him. I never forget one day. This was in the summer. This years ago. He asked, because he used to wear, and just to give you a visual. So we're living in, middle class Germantown section. I can say this now because I don't live there anymore. Germantown section of Philly. Middle class. Row homes, late model cars, little plots of lawn in the front that you manicure and stuff like that. Porches. That's the setup. You right down the street from a major park. I'm not gonna say which one. Germantown has several. And they're going out, not anywhere like a social thing. I think they was going out shopping or something like that. And I think I never forget, it was a Saturday morning, sunny, and he gets out the house with his football jersey and his baseball cap to the back and Jordans, of course. And she comes out the house with the prototypical hoochie mama outfit, the real short micro mini dress and the heels. And of course, she got the big hair did. And he said to her, why you always got to look like that? Can't you look decent sometime? And you know what she said right back to him? You didn't have no problem with this when you got me. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she would be right.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of guys want to domesticate that wild woman instead of just letting the hoe be a hoe and just enjoy that.
But see, here's the thing, and I hate to stereotype and typecast a guy, but you said he, as you rocking, as you call it, a flat biller to the back. You said Jordans. He had a jersey. Yeah. So
I mean, he wasn't looking like you, Bernard. You look like a professional. You got on
thank you.
A jacket, button-down shirt, no tie, but you still look like a professional. No cap on, well-groomed, well-spoken. It wasn't that deal. Or like me in my avatar there, you look like, I look like, and I was out and about on the weekend. This is what you would wear on the weekend for a man of my stature. No, this brother, and he was our contemporaries. I'm in my early 50s. You're in your latter 30s. So he's in our age range, somewhere between you and me. He's not a young whippersnapper. He's not a young lad. He's a brother that's middle-aged. And he's wearing the hat to the back, flat biller, football jersey. And I wouldn't say anything, because like I said, I believe it was on the weekend. I wouldn't say anything if he dressed like you and me through the week, and then he went and did that on the weekend. I wouldn't say anything. That was his attire through Monday through Sunday, Sunday through Saturday. That was his attire. And to be fair, his other half, her attire was, the prototypical slutty hoochie mama. So I couldn't even say anything. I was across the street on my porch when she said that to him. I was watching the whole interaction, just digging on it. And when she said that back to him, I was like, I can't even be mad at girlfriend, man, because she's right. I've been watching y'all for the past few years. She's been consistent in her whoredom. My brother, you can't make a hoe into a housewife, man. You got to let a hoe be a hoe. You just got to enjoy her for being a wild woman hoe because that's what you wanted.
Yeah, but see, my thing is when I see a guy dressed like that in later age, not all the time, because there's some men I know who handle their business, and they live a good life, but they just still dress like that. But if you're getting older and you still and you still dressing like that, you're still in the jersey, sagging your pants and this or that, you still doing all of that. You in many ways are the male equivalent of her. I would have a problem if somebody who was you're more in the what is the word that I'm looking for? Just more refined, dabbling around and playing around with something like that, and going on for a couple years, and he's trying to change her and all that's where it get goofy. But I always say that 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 hood chick, or the chick that's hood, that dress kind of skanky, and somebody who dressed kind of pookie-ish, they they they're really each other's equal. So I find it odd that he would be trying to change her. What he's still dressed with a certain aesthetic that says a certain thing about him.
Right.
So I look at them as categorically over there. The only time the thing that you're saying, it matters, and I think you have a point if you find somebody who's more refined in how they dress, how they walk, how they talk. Whether they got a professional career, they run a business, they're a man, a brother who dresses normal. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I hate
yeah.
to use that term.
What
If
you
you
would
see,
expect from a
if you
man
see
of his age in our society? Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. I like how you worded that. Let's go with that. If you see somebody who looks, and operates like that, but he's still messing around with the chick that got long blonde weave with fire engine red tips on it. I mean, she's doing that, and he's trying, like, well, why you got to come out dressed like that? Why you got to? It's like, nah, dude, you're tripping. But if you find somebody who dress kind of pookie-ish, and he get with a chick that's kind of on some pookie stuff too, and it's like, hey, they that's they match made in kind of heaven over there. I mean, and in Pookie and Keisha heaven. Like so I don't even, I tend not to analyze that, and that's what I sort of said about the whole the baby situation. Yeah, she came off, the chick came off pretty ridiculous, but if you just look at his actions and behaviors, he's pretty ridiculous too. It could just end up being just two ridiculous people being ridiculous.
Which is the
So
reason why I haven't said anything about it. Because you
exactly.
summed it up. I was like, what is there to talk about? Like attracts like. This goes back to Cold Steel's point. Like attracts like. So I couldn't be mad at girlfriend, going back to my personal example that I actually knew these people. I don't know the baby. I know of him, but I don't know him. I knew the brother that I'm telling you about when I used to live in Germantown. And I knew the guy for several years. I used to see them all the time, living their lives, going in and out of the house and all the rest of it. So when he tried to pull up on her with, why can't you look decent and all the rest of it, and she shot back, hey, look, you ain't had no problem with this when you got me. I was like, yeah, she makes a point. I can't even be mad at her for that, bro. You bought that. You bought it. So, but my point is, a lot of brothers, no matter where they fall in the American pecking order, they want to domesticate those hoes. And I'm saying to them, you can't domesticate hoes. You can't domesticate the wild one. Look it up online, the wild woman. You cannot domesticate the wild woman. Just enjoy her for what it is. Too many.
So the question,
yeah, go ahead.
But the question that I put out there on the show, I asked a question and then answered it myself. It was just the notion that a woman will conform to the man that she's with. I think that's a bunch of nonsense, but that's something that
why do you think it's a bunch of nonsense, Bernard? I have a suspicion why you think it is. I just want to see if my suspicion is correct. Why do you think that's a bunch of nonsense?
Well, ultimately, the way that I broke it down is that when they say that a woman will reshape herself around the man that she's with, she'll conform to the man that she's with, and then I will point out a situation. I point out a situation where there's a guy who's pretty solid, pretty upright, pretty straightforward, upright in his approach and everything that he's doing, but this woman wilding out and pretty wayward and pretty rogue about it, So what's up with that? How do you explain that? And then they'll turn around and say, "Oh, well, see, he needs to pick better. He needs to choose a better woman.
It's
And I'm
just
like, wait a minute, and
yeah.
you can't have both of those arguments. You can't
Right.
say a woman will conform to a man, and then when I point out that it's not happening like that, you say he needs to pick better. If
Right.
your original premise is true, then the second thing that you're saying would then
follows,
be rendered. It would be rendered irrelevant.
Exactly.
He could just pick one, just like a homeboy that you're talking about, or whoever you talk, or anybody that you're talking about.
The
He could
baby,
just,
for that matter, yeah.
yeah, he could. Well, I mean, well, no, I mean, you could argue that she is conforming to him because he's.
I didn't see much conformity when she went upside his head.
Well, I mean, okay. What I'm saying is he's full of disorder and chaos. So she's full of chaos. If the argument would go that if an orderly man, if a woman gets with an orderly man, she would stop her chaos and be more orderly while she's with this man.
Right.
But when situations where that isn't the case, they will say that man needs to pick better. But that's they can't have both of those arguments. That
Now I actually agree with them on that point, because I said this before. Listen, if you want, now I use the Stacey Abrams. Let me dial that back.
You agree with them on the conforming or the picking better? Hold on, real quick. You agree with them on the woman conforming to the man, or the woman or the man needing to pick better?
Both. And here's how. Here's how.
Yeah, I'm only
Here's how.
I'm only with the pick better.
I do agree. Let me go to the latter point first. I do agree that brothers need to pick better. If you want a woman that conforms to you and is submissive to you, you're not going to get that in the wild woman hoe. You ain't going to get that in the IG model looking grade chick. You ain't going to get that.
No, but hold on. You're missing it. Their argument is essentially is that type of chick that popped him on the head or this or that or whatever. If he is on point, she will be on point and will be orderly because he's orderly.
That's a bunch of bunk.
That's what I like to refute the notion.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bunk.
And
these are wild women. These are wild women. They're gonna be wild no matter what you do. My position is, because these women are very sexually attractive. See, I've been asking this question, and brothers don't want to admit it. The reason why a lot of brothers, and I even have a concept called hate effing. I talked about it before here on this show. Listen, I get it, fellas. You really don't like the things that they do outside of the bedroom that really irk you and piss you off. I get it. It's just like the brother in Germantown I was telling you about. Listen, man, I get that every time you go out the house, she looking like she going to a hole in the wall club. You know what I mean? Looking like she about to bust it wide open like a can of busted biscuit. I get that, brother. I get it. But here's the problem. You bought that. You took it home, man. You bought it, took it home. Now you want a house breaking, domesticated, and put newspaper around. It don't work like that, bro. That's not how it works. You got a chick that busts it wide open. Now, if you just want to accept that and deal with the cost of doing business with that, that's one thing. But my man, you're not going to change her into Felicia Rashad. That ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen today. It ain't going to happen no day. See, the brothers, I agree with the sisters who says this, because listen, if you want a Felicia Rashad type sister, you got to get a Felicia Rashad type sister. That means she's not going to knock you over. She's not going to bowl you over with just over the top, busting it wide open sexuality. I'm sorry, that's just the trade-off. It is. That's the trade-off, man. She's going to give you the domesticity and all the rest of it, but you're going to be trading off some of the over-the-top sexuality to get it. See, a lot of brothers don't want to admit that. A lot of brothers don't want to accept that. They don't want to admit that. This is the reason why I always say, I know for a fact there's a lot of good black women out there. I just don't want to see them get naked. I ain't trying to get, I got nothing against Felicia Rashad. I like her, love her. But I don't want to see her get naked. I want to see that Brittany Renner broad get naked.
Will you say you don't want to see get naked?
I don't want to see Felicia. My point being the archetype. I'm using archetypes here. The point, not the literal person, the archetype. So Claire Huxtable, I don't want to see get naked.
See, and to that I disagree. I mean, because there's good girls who can get real freaky behind closed doors.
There are beautiful women who are geniuses. Bernard, how many women like that exist?
Chicks that carry themselves well in the streets, but can
chicks that are geniuses that are also beautiful.
I think it's fewer of those, but that's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is that there are plenty of women who carry themselves decently in the streets, but the sex is real good. That's essentially my
So
point.
why
But
are there so many?
hold on, wait before you respond to that, 'cause I'm way behind on acknowledging the contributors. And the one that I always miss. Shout out to KD. Shout out to KD who came through, dropped a $25 cash app. Appreciate that. D Rock Den with a $5 cash app. Definitely appreciate that. And also coming through, we got who do we got here? We got Kiyoki Day said it might just be me, but I think that attractiveness is very much a common denominator in most women's issues.
He's right. He's right.
Attractiveness.
For
What is he?
most women in these discussions that we're having right here. So we're
Oh, okay. I
in
think
these kinds of conversations, that is to say, dating, mating, or dating and mating adjacent, or black love adjacent issues. From a black female's perspective, not all, but many of the issues, the common denominator is her attractiveness. Yeah, it's true. I know a lot of black women don't like to hear that, but it's the truth.
I definitely see the point at this. I see the point. Yeah, it's if you narrow down a lot of their arguments, especially if you the can't find a man on my level argument, that one is definitely rooted to attractiveness, because there's a woman who's not on your level, economically, who has that man that you that you wanted. So what does she have that you don't have? In most cases, she's probably more attractive. She's probably more feminine. So there's that.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely get the point. Definitely get the point. Flew over my head for a brief second, but I got it. Drew's World in the building. He says there aren't any good girls. I think I've done a show on that. They are all the same. I won't say they all the same.
I disagree.
But no, I won't say that they are the same. People say they all hoes. No, I don't say that they all hoes. But even the one that will fall in the category of a non-hoe, it's not this. What it is with her is there's a smaller percentage of men that she's willing to be a hoe for. Put it like that. The hoe probably has a larger percentage of men that she's willing to be a hoe.
I disagree, man. I disagree with the brother. There are good sisters out there, but a lot of brothers aren't willing to say, like me, I just don't want to see them get naked. They're good people. They're not bad people, man. They're not evil. They're not my enemy. They're not my mortal enemy. We're not in Mortal Kombat, finisher and all that sort of nonsense. No, man, they're good people. I just don't want to see them get naked. That's all it means. And that's all it means, man. See, black folk got to get out of this notion of trying to catastrophize everything. No.
I think I will always disagree with you on the notion that unattractive women are on average better people than attractive women.
I didn't say they were better people. What I said was, if the argument is, because look, there is a cost of doing business with a wild woman. A matter of fact, I'm thinking about writing this because I'm writing several books at the same time.
Wait, hold on. Hold your thought. I want to make sure I don't lose the super chats. But anyway, hold on. Drew's World in the building. He says there aren't any good girls. They are all the same. We have to stop having expectations for modern women. They love their freedom over everything, from the average chick to the baddest. It's the truth. I mean, some of the points that he's making in there, I've made it. I think only difference is, some people draw a harder line with that, or put the no exceptions in there, but I don't do that. But in general, yes,
here's my question for Drew.
What that does, I just want to say this real quick. That does typify the problem in the modern world, is that these women are free to do what they want, when they want, how they want it, and do what they want to do with who they want to do it with, and that ultimately creates a completely different social dynamic and dating landscape. That until okay,
what expectations do we guys have, and why is it that are black women not supposed to love freedom?
Oh no, they love it, but it's a matter of what they're doing with it.
As long as it neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg, I don't give a shit. The only reason why I make a big stink out of it is because of the potential impact it has on me. So, for example.
But hold on. Okay, go ahead.
So, for example, one of my major talking points is something that our good friend and brother St. Kevin has now brought to the forefront to such an extent that even Tone Talks last night, Antonio Moore picked up on it, did a bang out, a hell of a live stream last night before I went on the air. And that's this. Black women have always kicked dirt on the average brother, particularly blue collar brother. Always kicked dirt on him. And I've been saying this for years, and black women denied it. Well, guess what? For the past year and a half, our good friend and brother St. Kevin has been laboring in the vineyard, giving us thousands of hours of real-time, long-form, in-depth interviews. I mean, this is the type of stuff Oprah hasn't even done with black women in real time. And black woman after black woman after black woman has repeatedly said they cannot respect an average brother, a regular guy, a Blue Henry. They cannot respect him. I've been saying this for years. Thank you, St. Kevin, for bringing it to the forefront. Tone Talks was talking about it last night. Now, if sisters would just simply say, well, you know what? The blue collar brother ain't my cup of tea, or the regular guy ain't my cup of tea, and kept it moving, I would have nothing to say about it. Oh no, but black women got to carry around their hot sauce in a pocketbook and pour it on, like Kwame Brown's mama's cooking and embellish on all of it. And that's the reason why I say something about it. They just would have just said, hey, look, he ain't my cup of tea and keep it moving. I couldn't make money. The reason why I make money is because of black women's hot sauce and their mama's cooking. That's why I can make money off it.
Mm-hmm. Alpha male syndrome in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. He says the reason black men and black women are sounding alike is both are being raised by the Sith Big Mama. Shout out to you. That just reminded me of when I covered that story on Yama Van Zant where that family was all dysfunctional and all in disarray, and then they brought out the grandmama at the very end who when they let her speak.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, you could see clearly where the problem was. She was Darth Sidious behind the scenes the whole time. I was like, wow, it was crazy. But shout out to Alpha Male Syndrome. Scott Gray in the building. He says you can't domesticate a bobcat. Absolutely, absolutely agreed.
But a lot of brothers die trying though.
Yeah, Corey Burks in the building says we can't change women behavior. Well, let me make that bigger so I can see it. Shout out to Corey Burks in the building. He says, we can't change women's behavior. All we can do is make better decisions. Absolutely. And if they don't fall in line with your requirements, remove yourself. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Only caveat I'll put out there. Hold on. But I absolutely 100% agree with that comment. You can't change women's behavior. Only thing is, I do like to make it clear that men in this space or men anywhere on the media platforms, if they talk about relationships or interactions between men and women, they should properly state what the problem is, the rhyme, the reason, and what's going on. So, but even if your overall end goal isn't changing women's immediate behavior, I've said this before, and this could be pie in the sky. This could be pie in the sky with huge platforms like Kevin Samuels blowing up and getting big. I say, no, you shouldn't be sitting around waiting for Kevin Samuels to change how women act and think so you can get a girl. But however, when your platform becomes that big, you are the pot stirrer in society. You are the one planning the ideas. They say these women are gone, they lost, they indoctrinated with how they think and this or that. But when your platform get that big, when your media platform gets that big, you become the indoctrinator. So I do on a longer scale, wider lens, I do like to look at the effect of men essentially taking over the conversation when it comes to relationships between men and women, or relationships between black men and black women. On a wide lens, I do like to look at the outcomes of that. I think I think a man being the pot stirrer and indoctrinator does make a difference in the long run, but in the short run, you need to do what you need to do in the current environment to win. And that goes back to Corey Burke's point, is that don't be thinking you're going to change their behavior. You can make better decisions. If they don't fall in line with your requirements, remove yourself. That is absolutely the correct.
But see, here's the problem I'm having with this. See, okay, there's several things. First of all, black men and black women can't be honest with each other. Why do you think? Why do you think the infidelity rate is the highest in the country? Black men and black women cheat on each other more than any other group of people. You know, white folks, Asian folks, Hispanics. You know, you get the drill. That's number one. Number two, we can't be honest with ourselves. We lack complete self-awareness, introspection, anything like that. You have to be honest in order to do those things effectively. We can't even be honest with ourselves. Number three, we want to change everybody but ourselves. Have you noticed how many relationships black folks enter into with the sole goal of changing the other guy?
Yeah.
We're drawn to that. We like to coerce each other into doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're all about. We wanted this brings us back to the whole thing about trying to domesticate a wild woman instead of just getting with the plain Jane mousy chick that would be down to do what you want to do. But see, there's no excitement in that. And by the way, it's the other way around. Lots of black women want to get that thug dude and change him into a dad. And the minute that he does, now you don't get wet for him no more. That's what I write. I just got finished writing a chapter for my book for the lovely ladies. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to give it away. It talks about that very thing. And this is not my opinion. I'm not editorializing here. This is based on peer-reviewed academic research. Okay? That's what's going to be in the book. A lot of black women want to get that cat and turn him into a dad. And the minute he turned into Mr. Mom, now all of a sudden you don't want him no more. Now you got to go out and do something else. It's a deep dynamic, man. And how can we, you talked about the wide angle lens, how can we deal with larger problems when we have a dynamic like that between black men and black women on both sides? Make that make sense.
CJ NBM in the building. He says men really don't like conservative women. We don't want to wait until marriage, but we also don't want women with bodies. Doesn't make sense. Thank you, CJ MBM, for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Also, we got a few things going on in the chat room here, but shout out to CJ. Appreciate the super chat. Let's see. Okay, I'll put off on responding to that. That may be a whole show. That may be a whole show topic, that super chat you just sent. I'll do a whole show on that. I was about to respond to it, but I didn't want to start rambling. So I'll file that away and do a show on it later. But F Holiday in the building says bad vetting is the problem. Thank you very much for the super chat.
But wait a minute, Bernard. Let me go back to the brother Sun Ra.
Oh wait, hold on. I think that was the next one right here.
Yeah, let me go back to the brother Sun Ra about and the PUAs were right all along. First of all, who shunned the PUAs? What PUAs are you talking about? Number one. And number two, who argued that female nature could be changed and who was trying to change it?
Right. That's what I wanted to know.
That was my question. I'm trying to find out who's trying to change it. My position is let a hoe be a hoe, man. Just appreciate her wholeness and enjoy her wholeness, all her wholeness, her whole wholeness. Just enjoy it.
The thing that people miss when they start talking about female nature, yes, when females have a nature, there's male nature. Everybody has a nature, but the thing that people miss, and I said this before, I'll say it again. They talk about it as if it's a flat line. No, it's on a bell curve. It doesn't all. They don't do it all. They don't do everything the same way evenly. Just like it's in a male's nature to provide or whatever. They all don't provide equally. They all don't protect equally. It's the nature to do it. It's the nature of a man. If you got, so Yes, it's the man. It's in the nature, but it doesn't happen equally across the board. So whenever somebody says, "Oh, female nature" as the end all trump card to every conversation, every situation, they're looking at it from the perspective of every every single female is exactly the same because of female nature. Now, there are a lot of things that are very consistent with a lot of women, but it's variables. It's on bell curves. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about we wouldn't be talking about women, how women from different cultures operate if everything was just a flat line, no bell curve, no cultural influence, no nothing. It's just raw female nature. They are exactly how they are, and you can play that trump card every time. Doesn't it doesn't exactly work like that. Now you should be conscious of that of female nature. You should definitely refer back to what you know and what you understand about it. Definitely, it should inform your decisions. But I don't like when people talk about it as if it's just a raw flat line across the board. Like they all are exactly the same. Like the men are not all exactly the same, and women are not all exactly the same.
Right.
But anyway, just going to what he said, I just want to make sure I really flesh it out. Explain in another super well, no, just put it in a comment. I want to know what he's talking about with PUAs being shunned. I don't know about that. I don't know about all the history. I do like listening to people break down the history of the PUAs or whatever. I don't know what you mean by they're being
Yeah, I'm trying
shunned
to understand that too.
about what they said about female nature, behavior, and how it cannot be changed instead of trying to change it. Just understand this is who they are and roll with it. I mean, there's truth in that. We do got to understand who they are and how they operate. Shout out to David Carroll. I don't hate you. I understand you. Yes, that is a factor in the equation. I mean, that is very important. Very important understanding how women think and how women operate and understand that and then move accordingly. But so shout out to Sun is Hot Raw, but I do want him to elaborate on what he meant on some of those points. Kiyoki Day in the building. He says, I think another issue is that the lines between the wild woman and the good woman is so blurred that men are finally having to catch up in understanding that they have to decipher the
Oh,
code.
come on. Not all black women out there on Instagram busting it wide open. Stop.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He just said the lines are blurred between good and
All right,
bad.
so,
That's
all right,
true.
all right. So what's the blurred line between the wild woman? I already told you about the sister that I actually knew in Germantown. All right, so where's the blurred line? Because I could instantly tell the difference between her and the other ladies on the block.
Yes, some of them you can look at in a snapshot, and 50 feet away you can tell what they are. Then it's some of them you got to scratch beneath the surface to tell who and what they are.
All right, so what
But
would be
if
underneath? What would be
if you're
lurking underneath the surface? You help
that
tell me.
even okay, she don't walk around with a skirt right up to the cup of her butt and some long fire engine red weave,
Right.
but she's
She did
still
have that, by the way. How'd you guess? She did have that fire engine red type of weave. Damn, that's you
yeah.
good, Bernard. You good?
Yeah. One chick may not have the fire engine red weave, but she's still operating some of the same behaviors. She still may more low key bounce from guy to guy and do her she may get down and do the
Wait a
same
minute.
thing the same way.
Having
She
different
she
lovers makes her a wild woman.
Okay, well, I guess we need to back up and define wild woman. I think if a woman is I just assumed that part of the description of what you were defining as a wild woman is a woman who sleeps around with with a lot of guys. I mean, they don't got to have fire engine red weave. They can still be a conniving chick that do a lot of ill stuff. But I mean, I don't think I'm making a controversial statement here. It's some girls who present themselves well, so they still
So
operate.
that woman. All right, let me make sure. Okay, so we're just going to pick an arbitrary age. So we're going to advance from Brittany Renner's current 29 age. We're going to advance it to 35. Okay, so if a sister has, we're not going to talk about Brittany herself. We're just talking about the rank and file black woman in America. Okay, so if a black woman has at 35, let's say she had 5 men in her life, does that make her a wild woman?
No, and I don't no, I'm not that guy that just saying that look at a number of a body count and then just lose my mind about it. I care more about how you carry yourself and present yourself in public if it's going to be a potential chance of you being my woman. I care more about how you present yourself and carry yourself in public. All I'm saying is that with this open, unregulated sexual market, a woman could not want to shame herself publicly, but she still could want to get down and still, when she get entangled with a guy, she still has a lot of the same conniving behaviors. That's all I'm saying.
That would run counter to the science and the research.
Explain.
Well, I talk about this in the book of Obsidian. The dark triad woman. The dark triad woman is very balls out with the cock out. That's the reason why I love that interview that Brittany did. She's a dark triad woman, and she's speaking right out of the textbook. Psychological, psychometric research has been done on this. These are people that are very public, balls out with the cock out. They're not, under the cover of night or something making these moves.
How did I disprove what I said?
Because those aren't conniving people that are doing stuff on the down low. They do it right in your face.
Right. So you talked about the people who do it right in your face. How does that disprove the existence of the people that don't do it in your face?
But what I'm saying is, are we talking about, you said that the women, the line between the wild woman and the good woman is so blurred that you read from Kyoki Day. I asked you what was the difference. Your response was the good women do stuff on the down low. Did I hear that right?
No, yes, there are some women who care about their public image to some degree. Some care more, some care about it more than others, but they still operate and engage in a lot of the same behaviors. They just not, they just don't rock out what they cock out about.
All right. So what behavior? All right. So let's use Brittany Renner here. What behavior are these undercover sisters doing that's exactly like her?
Okay, they don't have to be exactly like Brittany Renner in order for my point to stand.
All right, similar.
I'm taking Brittany Renner off the table because I'm not going to give you that out to try to pull Brittany Renner back into the conversation. All I'm saying is that there are some women who have some behaviors. They don't wear it on their sleeves.
But what behaviors would that be?
Okay, I said they could sleep around just as much as the next woman. They could be
but we know that most black women don't sleep around like that, though.
Okay, that's fine. And most of them could not do it, and my point could still stand. They could they could be just as manipulative. They could still be the same type of manipulative. Touch out to ARC, the same type of manipulative, time wasting.
But they're dark,
cheating, backstabbing,
those women
lying,
are dark triad by definition.
Lying, okay.
The manipulative time wasters are dark triad by definition.
If we follow your argument to its logical conclusion, you can tell you're basically saying a woman who dresses conservatively or more conservatively than the chick with that fire engine red weave, that she can't also be a liar.
As a general rule, that's true. As a general rule, that's basically true.
It's a higher probability that she's not going to be a bad person to deal with. I will grant you that 100%, but she could still do it. It go back to what I said.
It goes against mathematical probability.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it doesn't go against mathematical probability. It just you increase the probability that you're not dealing with some out-of-pocket chick if you find a chick who's more conservative in how she conducts herself.
You know what this sounds like? You know what this sounds like? This sounds like the exact reverse of what black women say about good guys. You got these guys on the cover. They're not really good guys, though. They're fuck boys just like the other guys. They just do it on the down low.
No, it's not the same. And I'm a firm believer that there are some decent women out there. I'm in a relationship with one. So I believe that there's some decent women out there. All I'm saying is that when it got to the point, and this is, I mean, you've read the Beta Male Revolution, so I think you understand generally what I'm referencing here is that when it was the case when women got married and paired off young, I'm paraphrasing ARC here, and how he defines alpha males and beta males. Okay,
right.
Back then, the gap between alpha male and beta male was blurred back then. Why? Because everybody was more paired off one to one. Right. So you couldn't really tell who was sexually alpha and who could get to women like that. When you deregulated the market, and now the women are free to just go hop on who they're going to hop on with, and they're free to just go have sex with this smaller percentage of guys, then you can see then the gap between alpha male and beta male became really, really wide. Now, but when going back, when every woman was getting paired off early with a guy, the gap between hoe and non-hoe was wide. You can clearly see the hoe because she was single. She was sleeping with somebody's husband. Like, because every practically every guy was married. So if she's sleeping around with husbands. You knew exactly what she was. Now that most women are single and can sleep around and do what they want and do it low key behind the scenes, yes, it makes the lines between hoe and non-hoe a little more blurred, where it was wide and you could see it back then, but now it's a little more blurred. But in the midst of that, there's still good women out there. That's the reason, yeah, you gotta vet them, you gotta pick better, and it's not going to be a 100% proposition. But you still can find a decent chick, but the lines are clearly blurred in an unregulated market where women can do what they want when they want and fuck who they want and fuck who they don't. Like, so I don't think I'm making a controversial statement.
How's that a bad deal for? First of all, how's it a bad deal for women? And second, how's it?
I didn't say it was.
I don't think the problem is what you guys are stating it is, using Alan Roger Curry's book as a touchstone. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that a lot of brothers have a hard time adjusting to a 21st century life, in which Black women have the ability to have more options for their life.
Yeah, they have the ability to engage, to exercise those options and do what they want to do, and scapegoat the everyday brother like yourself. Yes, they have the option to do that.
Here's the problem with the scapegoat part.
We're talking about fuckery here, Obsidian. Like, don't do this to me.
Here's the problem with the scapegoat part. I'm with sisters all the way up until that point. See, my thinking is, you're free, but freedom ain't free. You have to take personal responsibility for the outcomes and the consequences of your decisions and the outcomes of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And see, any Black woman that doesn't do that is going to run into a buzzsaw with me. Mm-hmm. Just like any Black man who doesn't take any responsibility for that is going to run into a buzzsaw with me. That's the reason why I take such a hard line on, for example, Derrick Jackson, Antoine Fuqua, PJ Washington. I ain't trying to hear that shit. You a grown-ass man. You got to sack the fuck up and deal with the consequences of your decisions. You're an adult. You made a decision. Deal with your decision.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But shout out Kyoki Day for the super chat that prompted a good discussion between me and Obsidian. Azrael the Daywalker in the building. He says, I don't want Brittany Renner, but why do Black men have to go to the extreme? No, hold on. Why do Black men? No. You mean, why do Obsidian have to go to the extreme of Stacey Abrams? Other races of men have a higher range of relative attractiveness. That's one thing.
Let's look at that.
Well, hold on. Let me respond to it first. I always say to Obsidian, he will say, okay, if women like Brittany Renner is a problem, what's wrong with Stacey Abrams? I always say there are a lot of women in between Brittany Renner and Stacey Abrams. Obsidian be trolling us, man. Come on, like, yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Well, let's try to hold our thought on some of this, because it's a lot of super chats to see a lot of people in the building. Wait, Charles Merchant in the building. He says, why are the simp frogs trying to give rides to the scorpion whore? She's just going to thank and kill him simultaneously. Thank you for the super chat, Charles Merchant. Do appreciate that and appreciate your support. We also got Shay Charday in the building. Shout out to her. Says part of the issue. Hold on. Let me make can't see that. I gotta make it bigger on my screen. Says part of the issue is that Black America, there is higher value for entertainers, for the men who run and build society. I think he's saying there's a higher value for entertainers than for the men who run and build society. Yep. Yeah. Good point. Yeah,
that's true. There's a lot of truth. And I've spoken about that, and I'm going to write about it a lot more. But the Black men who are the builders and maintainers and the runners of society, they need to get on the jumbotron. That's their job to do. It ain't nobody else's job to do.
True.
Now my thinking is,
hold on, real quick. I do want to make it to the end of them. Just hold your thought on a lot of stuff. I know it's like two super chats you're trying to respond to, but he says, what I'm saying is, in most cases, it's not always black and white. I agree with that. As we want to think it is. That's how It was back in the day. I think it was more black and white in back in the day. It's more blurred lines of gray, but I don't think it's a hopeless endeavor. I don't go that far with it. Some
Well,
people go that far.
a lot of black men have a lot of sexual anxiety.
Oh,
A lot of black men have a lot of anxiety about the prospect that a woman that they're dealing with has a very active sexual past, where in which she could have had one or more lovers who could outclass him.
Oh, I will grant you that. I have heard in these discussions a lot of times when people talk about a woman's body count, they're looking at it from the perspective that she's been blown out and it's done, it's over. You're not going to be able to please her sexually. I think so. Any guy who says, okay, I don't like to typecast guys, but I think they probably have if you probably have a lack of, it's possibility that some people who say that have a lack of sexual experience, to where if they're thinking that, okay, if this woman has had a lot of sex, you're not going to be able to satisfy her sexually. If you've had sex with enough women, you know that there's a range. There's some women that it don't matter. Like some, never mind. I don't want to get too deep into that. I don't want to get too deep into
It's
that.
very simple.
It's a whole.
Have you ever heard a brother say the following? See, my position is, now we all have our own sense of a number, but as a general rule, I don't really spend much time on that. My thinking is this. Okay, I don't hold your past against you, provided that, one, no babies came out of it. In other words, you a baby mama. Two, if you got married or what, that's different. Two, no STDs came out of it. And three, you wasn't, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, or financially damaged behind it. If you're a black woman and you can have a roll in the hay with a number of guys and can come up not having to deal with any of those fleas on you, we Gucci. Now, how many brothers have said that?
I've said that in different words, but I mean, I've said that. I think quite a few operate like that, even though they don't exactly say it. But I think quite a few that's how most people operate. Just don't show up with a bunch of babies. Long story short. So I think a lot of them operate like that. But there are some guys who are just, even when they're talking about casual sex, they're hung up on a woman's body count. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. If you're only looking at having casual sex with her, you shouldn't be that concerned or worried about it. I understand having some issue with it if you're considering her for a long-term mate. I can get that.
And what I'm saying is,
hold on. What I'm saying is that, one, you're never truly going to know. So that's why it always circles back to what you said about how, how does she carry herself? Is she psychologically, emotionally, or physically damaged in some way by it? And does she got a trail of babies by other men following behind her? She ain't got no baby on her hip. She's not emotionally, psychologically damaged by it, and she carries herself well. That's really the best you could do, because truthfully, you don't know if back when she used to live in California before she used to move to Michigan, you don't know if she got ran through by 200 guys down there. You really don't know.
Here's the question I have for the brothers. If indeed a sister passed on all those 4 points that I just mentioned, would it make a difference? See, to me, it makes no difference. If she can pass those tests, then we good. It doesn't really matter what a number is. But see, I suspect that a lot of brothers, it'll matter even if she could pass those tests. My question becomes, why? Tell me why it matters. Make a rational, reasoned argument.
For casual sex?
I'm talking about for anything. Pick it.
Okay, for a long-term relationship.
A rational, reasoned argument.
For a long-term relationship, we talking she didn't had.
Why if a woman could enjoy a vibrant sexual life as a free woman today? She has no kids out of wedlock from it. She has no STDs and can prove it. She has no psychological, mental, emotional, or financial damage from it. Why should it matter?
Okay. I'm just going to make sure I restate it clear. For casual sex, it shouldn't matter. If she's going to be my woman, we walking through holding hands in the mall, walking through the mall, in the park, holding hands. I I'm just not doing it. And if you want a rational, reasoned argument, I don't know exactly. I don't know if I exactly got one other than just I just don't want to walk around with the town hole on my arm, and that just is what it is.
I mean, let's look at that. You say you walking through the park scenario, right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So exactly what about the park that's problematic?
It's not the park that's problematic. It's the town hole on my arm at the park.
I don't know. I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. I stated the park is just a peaceful public place. So walking through public with the village hoe on your arm as your woman, you're claiming her. I'm not doing that. I'm just not.
I'm trying to understand what I mean. Are you concerned about what other people think?
Yeah, it makes you look bad. It makes you look bad amongst your peers and the community if you're just arm in arm with the village hoe. Yes.
All right. So would you consider Amber Rose a village hoe?
Yes and no. The yes is that everything that she's done has been public. The no is that if you add up let's just say 10 celebrities she's been with, okay, is 10 men a lot that for a 30-year-old woman, 35-year-old woman. So it's like, I don't. So I wouldn't necessarily call her that. It gets tricky with celebrities. That's why I don't like when you always try to pull out the celebrity thing.
Well, I mean, why? Okay, so why is Amber Rose a celebrity then?
I think she's I don't know why she's famous other than I saw a bald-headed chick at the Source Awards with Kanye West, and I was like, oh, that's a cute bald-headed chick, but she's still bald-headed. And then
She's famous because of sex.
Yeah, but it's not okay. It matters who you have sex with, though.
She has massive sex appeal. That's why.
Yes,
that's how she made her money, through being a sex kitten. So my question becomes, okay, if the argument that you're proffering is because being seen with the village bike, the village hoe, is bad for business, okay, explain how that hurt Kanye.
Clearly Kanye doesn't care, and I can't give an exact example of how it hurt him, and I don't know why it would be even required that I give an exact example of how it hurt him.
Well, because you're saying that being with the village hoe in your mock scenario would be injurious to you, right? Would that be fair?
Yes, it would be injurious to me. It would make you even though Kanye West has benefited from being with Kim Kardashian, him marrying her, as I've said plenty of times,
has it hurt him?
No. I said he probably benefited from it because I heard somebody make an argument that he became a billionaire because of some connection to something she had going on.
That's right.
But so it hasn't hurt him at all. However, marrying her, it certainly looks stupid when you're a successful man, a public figure, and you go and marry a woman who got famous off a sex tape with a lesser celebrity than you. Yeah, he looks stupid. He looked.
I don't recall anybody making that case about Kanye. He was just on the Breakfast Club, as I recall. I don't recall anybody saying you look stupid because you with a woman that was with Ray J. Who said that?
At one of his concerts, somebody blew up an image. I can't show my big banner right now, but they made a image bigger than the banner that I got in this room of Ray J and Kim Kardashian having sex, and they were waving it around like that, like they made a big old flag, or they were holding it up at his concert. So yeah,
who was that did this?
It was some people that showed up at his concert, but obviously the Breakfast Club. Yes, obviously the Breakfast Club, who's doing business with Kanye, having him on for an interview, is not going to bring him on and say, "So tell me, how does it feel to marry the chick that you found out about through a sex tape?" They're not going to do that to him. But
so
overall,
in other words, people who matter ain't going to bring nothing like that up.
Okay, but to Kanye West and his world of people that matter, the people he do business with. Well, no, hold on. To some degree, I don't know if you know about this, but you know how Jay-Z and Kanye were, partners in crime, so to speak.
Yes.
One of them married to Beyonce, one of them married to Kim Kardashian.
Yes.
So two guys who are essentially business partners and best friends. Beyonce would not be seen in a photo with Kim Kardashian,
Okay.
even with Jay-Z and Kanye next to each other out in public, and Beyonce with Jay-Z and Kim Kardashian with Kanye. Beyonce would deliberately go off to the side because I'm not going to get caught in a photo op with this skank, So
that you know that.
That's what was reported, and I defy you to find. I defy you to find a picture of Beyonce and Kim Kardashian together striking a pose.
Well, we can. That's speculation. We don't know. I'm asking, how do we know that, per your argument, Kanye has actually taken a hit reputationally, professionally, financially from being with both Amber Rose and Kim Kardashian?
I didn't say I didn't say he took a hit financially or professionally. I said he looked stupid as fuck.
But again, so what? It didn't hurt him. See, my point is this.
No, that's fine. Hold on, real quick. Out the gate, I said I don't know if I have a logical based argument where I can show you in dollars and cents.
And that's what I was asking for. A rational argument.
No. I told you out the gate. I may not be able to show some hardcore bullet points as to why it was logically why it was stupid empirically for him to do that. All I'm saying is that it just looks goofy, and me personally, I don't want to look goofy. However, if there was a situation where I can get with a woman and walking around with her, I would look goofy. However, there was some long-term benefit that was going to make me a millionaire by doing it. I look goofy to make millions. Okay. If that's what we're getting at, we're talking about Kanye, who
right at the top of his game, apex predator of the hip hop game. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, okay, we can go with that. Yeah,
I mean, he's akin Kanye West as a super producer / rapper / businessman is, he's Godzilla level apex predator. Would that be fair to say? You just mentioned Jay-Z. He's actually produced some of Jay-Z's hottest tracks. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, Kanye West is a man. He's one of my favorite rappers.
So he. I mean, I see no hit that he's taken from being with Amber Rose or Kim Kardashian. And my point is this: when it comes to this mileage question,
he took no hit. Hold on, real quick. I never said he took any hit for being with Amber Rose. Right. He became famous because of him.
Right.
So there's no hit taken there.
Right.
But my only position, I just want to make it clear, because it's like you're putting a burden of proof on me that I never said.
Well, no, I'm not saying you said it. I'm just simply making a point in relation to your argument that a lot of black men can't make a rational argument. And now you want to talk about looking goofy. A lot of black men look goofy when they say these things, and they can't rationally make a reasoned case. They're not sober and judicious. They just sound like they're foaming at the mouth.
Well, I don't think you sound like you're foaming at the mouth if you just simply say that I don't want to be out in public holding hands with the town whore. You don't have to make an empirically based argument with that. Now we can break down some science as to why it's in guys' nature to not want to be with not want to be with a woman like that. But I don't even want to get into that. I can just keep it just base level, Well, women can't, make a rational argument in modern times why they're less attracted to short men.
For example,
hold on real quick. There's no rational argument for that.
And they sound goofy as hell.
Yeah.
In the 21st century, where the global average, now if you're shorter than me, this is going to be a problem, but the global average height for a man is my height, 5'7", right? Mm-hmm. And all of the massive technological advancements, plus the fact that Alexander the Great was my height, Vladimir Putin is my height, Adolf Hitler was only an inch or two taller than me. That's sort of my point. My point being is that for a lot of black women, they sound goofy as hell making that argument today. They sound goofy as hell. They do. They sound goofy as hell saying some shit like that. They sound and that's my point that I was talking about last night. A lot of black men and black women, they sound like the reverse of each other, saying goofy shit. Just goofy shit.
I disagree. I don't think it's goofy for a guy to say, I don't want to be in a monogamous, committed relationship with a woman who has a long-standing history of being a whore, bouncing from man to man, sleeping around with a lot of different men. I don't think a man sounds goofy for saying that at all.
I think a man does in today's world because women can have the right to fuck who they want to fucking move on with their life, and many often do.
And there's some penalty for it that you will take, not as much of a social hit as you would in days of the past, but there's still a social penalty for sleeping around. However, the trick is, as we both agreed 100% on, the trick is carry yourself well in public. If you don't come up with any emotional or psychological scars from it, and don't come up with a trail of babies and don't show up with a baby on your hip, you can pretty much get away with it.
Now, see, when I say that to black women, you know what I get? Crickets. You know why? Because what rationally can they say in response to my criteria? My thing is no babies out of wedlock, no STDs, your head is straight and your bank account is straight, because you ain't going broke trying to bail out the select fuckboys that you got digmatized by. If you can pass those 3 empirical tests, I really don't give a shit what you did. I get crickets from the ladies because they know what I'm saying is right. It makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And so therefore, my argument is that a lot of brothers approach this from a game goofy standpoint instead of sitting down and say, okay, what reason? We're in the 21st century. We expect people to be more thoughtful, sober, judicious. What reasoned, thoughtful argument could I put forth for why a woman's number matters? See, I can put forth that argument for why a woman's number matters. I can put forth the argument.
Okay, what's the argument?
I just got finished telling you. The more chances, the more guys you sleep with, I'm talking about black women now, not white women. This doesn't go for white women. I'm talking about black women. The more dicks you ride on, sis, the more likely you are to come up pregnant and have a baby. The more dicks that you ride, the more likely it is for you to have emotional problems. The more dicks you ride, the more likely you are to go broke trying to, help these select fuck boys out. Now, if you can prove to me otherwise, we can talk. That's the reason why black women have crickets when I say that. Crickets.
All right. Freedman's Journal in the building says, we talked about female nature, but not male nature. Men have terrible vetting skills. That has to be admitted. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. I know I'm behind on super chats. Jay Charday back in the building. She says, I think a good woman will actually seek out good men. LOL. No LOL on that one. No LOL needed on that one. Water sinks its own level. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. We also got Son is Hot Rod. I think he's probably clearing up what he said earlier. So let me make this bigger so I can make sure I read it correctly. He says, we have PUAs in this space who try to inform us about the nature of females, and they were met with an onslaught of criticism and name calling. I'm
trying to find out who the PUAs are.
Everything they've been saying is being spoken about now. I don't know what PUAs was met with criticism and called F.
Yeah, I want to know who they are too. If he could cite some names, that would be good.
All right, I'm working my way up through the list to find the super chats. You may look like I skipped you, but I didn't. I'm about to make my way back to you. Those women will get the dangerous situations. That's one reason. Those women will get you in dangerous situations. That's one reason. A woman who's
dangerous situation will you be in?
Yeah, I don't. I can use my imagination and come up with some, but overall, yeah.
Humor me. What kind of dangerous situations and scenarios can you think of that would result from you being with the you call it the village whore, you call it? Uh, humor me. I mean, what exactly? What kind of uh? I'm trying to understand what kind of danger. He said danger. I'm trying to understand what kind of danger would be had by doing that.
Yeah, if a woman sleeps around with a lot of guys, there's potentially a lot of guys attached to her, which potentially a lot of those guys could be problematic guys. There's always a, and there's always a time when you first start dealing with a chick, especially if she's a chick who's probably been around the block a few times, where you kind of got to keep your head on the swivel because you don't know what she got going on in her life because she get into too much stuff. So yeah,
Right.
that's a situation where you might end up running into a situation or two. Rod of God podcast in the building says, but JJ and eggplant are not equal. The wear and tear is very different. I understand what you're saying right there. And listen,
All right. So can you tell? All right. How about this? Can you tell if the poom poom has been worn out? Can you actually tell?
I was just about to touch on that. Now, Obsidian, this is getting to the dangerous territory of you seeming to be advocating for hoes.
Uh-oh.
But
So,
what does that mean? That
yeah, I'm trying to find my appropriate sound bite here. So I have to look for it. But yeah, I mean,
it's getting to that dangerous territory. Even though I will answer his question directly, and I said this before on the show. It was a chick that I messed with who, keep in mind, messed with, I mean, casual sex with a few times.
Okay.
She was very honest, and she said her. Keep in mind, this woman, she was in her mid-30s.
Okay.
She had a few kids. And
Okay.
she said she didn't say she'd been around the block a few times. She said she's been around blocks. She said the body
Been
count
around blocks, multiple blocks.
Yes.
So
She said
you went on in. You went in. You're our crash test
onward.
You went on in. What was it like?
Onward Christian soldier. I went in.
Soldiered in.
Completed the mission.
Right.
It felt normal. it did. However, there are some women who I think, okay, like it goes back to what I always say, everything is on a bell curve. There are some women who they probably feel the wear and tear more. There's some women who probably snap back more, or I think it just varies from woman to woman. It's not a flat line. No matter what, if she has sex with a lot of guys, she's going to be blown out. This particular, I've had some women that didn't feel as tight, didn't feel as good, but this particular woman who admitted to having sex with a lot of different men, it was perfectly fine. It was actually, pretty tight. So it varies. So I don't make that argument. For me, it's just the social optics of being in a committed monogamous relationship with a chick who has a past and history of hopping around from Johnson to Johnson, and past performance is an indicator of future performance in many cases. So you never
what
know
about
what
she did
she's
it
gonna.
secretly? What if she was a hoe on the because that was a big part of your argument earlier, that a lot of these women be doing this hoeing on the down low. Okay, fair enough. So what about that?
You mean if I never knew about it? You mean, okay, what if, okay, let me look at it like this. Are you saying that if she told me she's had sex with 200 guys, but it was on the secret, on the down low?
Well, how about this? Let's do it one better. You never knew about it.
If I
She
never
did
know
it, you never knew about it.
You can't be affected by what you don't know ever happened.
So then that brings us back round robin to asking all these questions. What's the point in asking the questions if she's very discreet? So we're really what we're getting at here.
You should hold on, wait. You should never be just asking the question as like that. That's why I said it's all depends. It's a matter of, and we both have made the same point and we've agreed on it. So it's just getting to the point where it's just advocating for hoes. Okay,
am I advocating for hoes?
It's getting in that territory.
Let me disabuse you. Let me disabuse you and everybody else. Absolutely, I'm a huge advocate for hoes. I love hoes, loose women. Bring on the Babylonian whores.
Wait a minute.
Bring them on.
Are you advocating
for the whores of Marrakesh?
Are you advocating for being in long-term relationships with hoes? Where at the beginning of the show you was talking about men not trying to turn hoes into housewives, but now
You
you're
could be in
saying,
a
well,
long-term
what
relationship with a wild woman and not try to domesticate her. And I gave you proof. I gave you proof that that was true with homeboy in Germantown. He was with a woman who was a wild woman. He'd been with her for. I watched the guy. I was there for what 2-3 years. He was with her at least that long. He just tried to domesticate her. You could be with a wild woman and not try to domesticate her. Just accept her that she's a hoe. Let a hoe be a hoe and enjoy.
Okay, I had to drop down for a minute, and when I realized that Obsidian has taken me down into a rabbit hole, and I dig out, and like the exit of that rabbit hole is like another rabbit hole, and I go down into that portal, and I get lost in Alice in Wonderland, Oz, and in every fictional land. And then I come back, I realize I had to drop down from the stream. I had to find myself back in reality. All right.
I'm all for the Babylonian whores being Babylonian whore. I wish if it was left up to me, I'd get in touch with my congressman to pass legislation that the Babylonian whores get a free pass in society, tax-free benefits and all the rest of it. They're doing the Lord's work and doing something for humanity.
Oh man. I don't know why I let him do this to me.
Hoes for you. You got Habitat for Humanity. Hoes for humanity.
Oh man! Shout out to Ride a God podcast. And Ride a God, I think he just became a member today, but it disappeared from me. Let me try to find these super chats. Shout out to Black Wolf in the building. He says female nature is a snake. Patrice O'Neil. Shout out to Sun is Hot Raw. Okay, okay, I did. We did look at that one. Okay, let me try to find. It's some other ones in here that I gotta try to dig up. Give me a half second. Give me a half second. Welcome to the show, Game Changer. While I try to pull this up, but hold on, Jockey's Retro. He said these women will get you. Okay, we already read that one. I think that might be it. Dallas Cowboys in the building. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. We got saying one. He says RIP to young black man from the Steve Harvey show. Got his life took because of a 304. I don't know I forgot the exact story, but I think we had some kind of entanglement going on with a chick that, hell, some people came on my panel and said,
nah, he didn't touch her.
What happened?
Well, she was into him. He wasn't feeling her like that. So, she went to big brother, big cousin, somebody, some protector, and used the grape word, and that was pretty much that.
Ride of God podcast in the building says, no, sir, BR, I've been a member for 2 months. I think somebody just became a member. I don't know who that was, but shout out to Ride of God. That's right. You have been a member for 2 months. Like I said earlier in the show, I got to get a formal list and make some overlay graphics of everybody who's a member so I can be, properly acknowledging you, gentlemen. Theo Wolf in the building says, 100% I avoid 304s. No, however, I respect the other men and enjoy them. I have had enough problems in life. I don't need another. Shout out to Theo Waff in the building. And shout out to everybody. I'm sorry if I missed your super chat. I will try to dig it up as I pass the mic to Game Changer because Obsidian then made my head spin once again. The Obsidian has struck. He God damn it, he did it again. All right, go ahead, Game Changer. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Yeah, so I don't really see much of a problem with dealing with sexually promiscuous women. I know that there are those who do. I'm not one of those people. However, actual whores, women who sell pussy for money, will become problematic in long-term relationships because in order to do their job effectively, and this is whether they do it directly or indirectly, by the way, in order to do their job effectively, they have to see all men as, potential clients or potential earners, meaning that they have to detach themselves from their own desires to have relationships with the guy. That detachment is going to express itself in a relationship if you attempt to have one with her. No matter how hard you try, she's trained not to love you the same way a regular woman does. So I wouldn't recommend that at all.
Mm-hmm. I was playing around with my coffee, so I don't know if I fully followed what you just said. You're basically saying you wouldn't recommend being with a woman
Who's a hoe? Who's an actual prostitute?
actual
direct or indirect? Yeah. And
despite
once again, the reason for that is because they're trained to detach themselves from, they're trained to not have emotional attachments to their clients. And really the plurality of men, because anybody can be their client. So that training is going to, show itself in the relationship. It's going to wear on the relationship. She's not going to have a proper attachment to you because she's trained not to. And it'll eventually wear on it.
Yeah, see, the only reason what you're saying is kind of weird to me is because I guess I never even considered the remote possibility of being in a relationship with a woman who sells it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, like no, I mean, I know that y'all weren't going off the literal, definition of word, but and that's why I also said directly and indirectly. There are women who sell it indirectly, like Brittany Renner. So,
okay,
that's
good. Now,
problematic. Yeah.
Now I can see you. I can see your point right there. How she and the dudes, shout out to the PJ Washingtons of the world who want to be with a chick like that. Yeah, she would have to suspend a lot of her programming to even try to be in a normal relationship. So that's why it's even just ultra goofy to be trying to even try to even take her serious. Like, so I definitely understand what you're saying right there.
Right. And then there's also the case of the, porn stars and people like that. I mean, it's very difficult to attach to somebody, especially, so they put an amount on it, on sexual activity. That's something that's going to psychologically wear on it. Like, let's just say she gets $100 every time she has. Let's just say she's $100 prostitute. Now you get with her and you sleep with her 1,000 times. She's going to, in the back of her mind, it's like, I could have got $100,000 from this nigga. And, so that mindset in a relationship will be the end of it.
Yeah, see what you're saying. Creation Muse in the building with the $2 super sticker. Definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Lil Big Nate. Hey, I told you to email me, man. I think you said you should be back up and running in 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks. Let me know your status. I need to just remember to email you. They got something cool set up on StreamYard now to where I could make you co-host and then I could just disappear and drop down, and you got full controls, can click on stuff, can bring up super chats, can bring people up into the stream, drop them down from the stream. So, that the little thing that we did when you lost your stream the last time, even I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little hesitant to do it. Whatever reason they keep banning you, I don't want you to get me banned over here. But just let you know, what
happened? His channel was taken down too?
Yeah, I think he got hit for 2 weeks. He in like a 2-week penalty box or something. I don't know.
Hey, that's no joke.
Yeah.
Nate, be happy that you got 2 weeks. They took me out, permanently.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did get it back after a month or so, right?
Well, I had to petition. What I'm saying is they like, we're gonna take your shit forever, and
their intention was to take it forever, and then you properly petitioned and won.
Exactly.
Okay,
but that's completely in their hands. At least he knows that after 2 weeks he's gonna get it back.
All right. Yeah, he says today or tomorrow, bro, I will be broadcasting. Yeah. Thanks so much for the offer, bro. Yeah.
Can you step back to his other previous remark?
Little Big Nate's?
Yeah.
I'll try to find it.
He was saying words to the effect of, let me see if I can find it in the chat room. A woman who uses her vagina as a medium of exchange is a woman proper men should avoid at all costs. So my question to Little Big Nate is this. Okay, what do you call a woman that's in the marriage market? What is she exchanging?
Different currency. The marriage is the is the currency for
Okay,
many
so,
women.
so take the vagina out of it then.
Huh?
Okay, so take the vagina out of it then.
No, what I mean when I say the marriage is the currency, she's exchanging her vagina for the marriage. You're
Yeah,
giving
but
her marriage.
it's still a medium of exchange though.
Yeah, no, I get what he's saying. I think that he means currency.
Yeah, and marriage it does cost. I mean, the average cost of a wedding is like 20 grand, for example, and so on. I mean, it is a cost. See, my position is, the problem is, this is what I think a lot of black men have. I'm not saying this is true for all black men, but I think a lot of black men, more than we're willing to admit, we're way too romantic than we're willing to admit. See, I'm not a romantic man, never have been. I don't have a romantic bone in my body.
I think he clarified though.
Yeah,
I think he clarified. He said a strict exchange, vag for cash, a vag for bag situation is a woman that should be avoided.
Okay, fair enough. So what do you call it? So what do you call the women? All the women that call up a Kevin show that made it clear that they're looking for men who have money.
Yeah,
what do you call that?
That wasn't. I'm not saying that many of those women aren't whores. When I say direct and indirect, I'm including a large portion of the female population.
Right. And I'm saying
I consider that indirect.
Yeah, and I say, what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
Well, I'll explain what's wrong with it as far as long-term mating.
Okay.
Like, that's what's wrong with it. No, honestly, like, the relationship is destined to fail for that reason, direct and indirect. The women who call in who want it directly, those relationships are destined to fail.
How so?
I explained it earlier, Obsidian, please.
I think the problem is
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I didn't hear when you said it. Sorry about that.
Hold on, Kiyoki. Yeah, I think the problem, Obsidian, is that obviously you're equating a woman wanting a man with resources for the right reasons to be
right reasons? What right reasons would there be?
Okay, by the right reasons, I meant if she wants to be a wife and she wants to be a mother, obviously it makes sense for her to want a man with the resources, because that will ultimately, help her to be able to be home with the kids, not have to work, and the whole works, the whole traditional family thing. I mean, I think we generally understand that is a different exchange from a woman just literally, money on the table, pussy on the table, let's exchange. Okay, we exchange, we done, bye. That's what Lil Big Nate was talking about. He wasn't talking about that type of thing. Now, there are some people in this space who do equate those two exchanges, but I don't think I don't equate them. I don't think Game Changer equates them. So,
well, I can tell you who does equate them. The single biggest market that hoes have, which are married men.
No, they're not equating that. They're having their wife and family and a little dessert on the side.
They're doing an exchange in both cases.
One of them, but one of them, I think we would consider to be a more proper, appropriate.
No, that's when you bring in your morality into it. I'm looking at straight outcomes. There is an exchange.
And I know, but the outcome is different. On one situation, one person is handing money in exchange for a vagina,
and then the other person, and in the other case, the other person is handing money. It's called a wedding ring. It's called an engagement ring.
Not in exchange for her just bending over.
Yeah, in exchange for her bending over. In exchange for her bending over and spitting out little carbon copies of you for life that you take care of until you're dead.
And she takes care of them. And y'all have a marriage and a union. That's different. That's different from vag for bag.
But it is bag for bag. What do you call alimony? What Tom Likas called vagina money, payment for past use of a vagina.
There are similarities, but there's glaring differences. We can just agree on that. There's
some similarities. My point is that it's still an exchange.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's true. It is an exchange. That's one of the similarities, but there's obvious differences as well. But Theo in the building with the super chat, he says, sadly, Obsidian is correct. Thank you for the super chat, Theo. Definitely appreciate that. Let's move to Kiyoki Day in the building. Go ahead. You got the wait. Hold on. Before we go to you, we got Simon Landereth in the building. And let me make that a little bigger so I can see it. He says Indian Americans have a median household income of 135K, 90% of whom have been in America since 1980. Obsidian, what percent of black men do you think are capable of earning that much within 10 years? He said
Max,
Indian American. I'm sorry, what's that?
max 10%.
Yeah. Indian Americans. You talking about okay, he's talking about the dot, not the feather. I'm assuming
That's
you're
right.
talking about people that came from India. Okay. Have a median household income. Household income is different from individual income. That's one thing worth pointing out. I'm just trying to parse out what he's saying. 90% of whom have been in America since 1980. Obsidian. Okay.
Well,
I'm
you
just
make a
kind of
good point because he's asking to compare a black man's income, an individual black man's income, with an Indian family's income. The culture, there's several things that it really wouldn't compare. For one, we have an H-1B process that only brings in the best of them, so their average is going to be high. They're shipping in the engineers and doctors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But furthermore, their kids stay in the house well until adulthood. They have a saying to where the parents take care of the children until the children take care of the parents, meaning it's perfectly reasonable to see an Indian family with, children in their 40s, or excuse me, adults in their 40s living at home with their parents. So you will have, in that particular case, sometimes a 5-income household. It's really not a fair comparison.
yeah, I knew it was some nuance and details. I'm glad you fleshed it out because I didn't want to sound like I was making it up, but I had a general understanding that was sort of the case. So I'm glad you fleshed it out. Simone Lander, it took me 10 years in America to achieve 50,000 monthly. So it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. For I was about to make a joke. I ain't going there. All right. Kiyoki Day in the building. You have the floor. You have it, the mic.
Well, a simple answer to Obsidian's question was, at least I could speak for most black men, is simply fraternity. Most men in general uh, roughly don't want to be with women who are very promiscuous because of childbirth, and they don't want to question whether or not the child is theirs or not. So that would be a simple answer to his question.
When the paternity test clear that matter up?
No, I mean, it's not the fraternity test, it's the situation. I don't want to be in a hospital with 3 other men.
But you wouldn't be in a hospital with 3 other men if she's actively having sex with other people.
Well, that's if you're assuming that the promiscuous woman is quote unquote considerably a wife or a loyal woman.
Gentlemen, hold on, real quick, gentlemen. I'm stepping away for a second. Obsidian is on one today. I feel like giving Obsidian the moderation controls is probably a bit. Well, it's only 2 people on the panel. It might be a bit dangerous sometimes to do that. But all right, I'm out of here. But yeah, let Obsidian's voice be the moderator and the mute button if everybody start talking at the same time. But all right, I'll be right back. Stepping away for a couple minutes.
All right. No, I'm just simply saying, I mean, your concerns are something that is a concern looking for a problem. It's a solution looking for a problem. In today's world, the question of paternity is easily addressed. As for the other piece about getting involved with a promiscuous woman, well, the argument goes that you can't trust the good girls either because they're not really good either. They're just faking the funk. So what do you do? Where do you go to find somebody suitable? What do you do?
That wasn't my point. My point was that nowadays the lines between the good girl and the wild woman is so blurred, and that men are just catching up and just finding out that you have to learn to decipher the code. And the men that do decipher the code, more often than not, are most likely apex dating men.
So tell me what the code is.
Deciphering the code. The code is that the very much vetting a woman, getting to know her, watching her,
What do you need to know?
listening to what she says. I need to know um about her past, how she carries herself, what she got going on, how she move, who she mingles with, who she associates herself with. All of those things are important as far as dating or vetting a woman. Other than that,
Seems terribly inefficient to me, but okay.
in what terms?
How much time is this going to entail?
Well, I would agree that in today's time, due to technology, it doesn't take very long to find out about somebody naturally. If the person is worth the investment. But as far as your claims of taking
Naturally?
that person serious, you
You
said
said
what?
naturally as opposed to unnaturally? You said naturally.
No, naturally dating, dealing with any woman. I mean, obviously, if most most heterosexual men dealing with women, uh, you're gonna vet the woman, see how she moves, and you know, it's natural. It's nothing forced. I'm not gonna run up a background check on a chick that I've known for a week.
Hmm.
So that's what I mean by the lines are
So
being
from a
kind of
2 month,
blurred because
three
you
months.
kind of you said, is it 6 months or 3 months?
I said I'm trying to get the timeline here. Is it a month, 3 months, 6 months? What's the deal?
The timeline is dependent on your interest as a man into that woman.
Okay, so you're in the marriage
Being that
market.
men control the Am I in the marriage market?
Okay, let's
No,
assume
I
that
didn't
you're in
say
the marriage
anything
market.
about. See, you're. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's assume that you're in the marriage market. What are we talking about in terms of timeline to find out what we need to find out?
I said in this day's time, if you're looking for a wife and you're in the marriage market, I would say approximately 3 to 6 months, and that's fair.
What do you guys think? You think that's a fair length of time?
I was multitasking. I missed the context of the question. A fair enough amount of time for what? Hello?
Oh, he was asking if I was in the marriage market, assuming how long should it take you to vet a woman, get to know her, and know everything about her? I said 3 to 6 months,
Okay, I
and
see
I
what you're
also
saying.
said that it also, like I said before, it depends on when you as a man want to take that woman seriously and vet her in that way. But as far as just dating the wild woman, or like you said, trying to turn her into this and that, nah, that's the lines are too blurred nowadays because you got a lot of good girls who uh can come off as wholesome, and then you got a lot of wild women who are the complete opposite. I mean, I think if you've seen the interview with Brittany Renner on No Jumper, even with Kevin Samuels, there were a few times where Brittany herself alluded to the fact that she is quote unquote a wife. So nowadays you got a lot of women who are quote unquote the wild women who inherently view themselves as wives.
What woman would say that they're not a wife? What woman would say that?
Say again?
What woman
You
would
said
come
what
up and
woman would
proudly
say what?
proclaim that they are not a wife?
The ones that what you said earlier, the ones that walk around with their nuts out.
I only know of
I
one
knew
woman
plenty of
right off
women
the
who
top.
professed.
I only know of one woman right off
I
the
know
top of my
plenty.
head that just hang on. I only know of
I
one
know
woman right
plenty
off.
of women.
I only know of one woman right off the top of my head that just flat out said she never wanted to be married, and that was Shonda Rhimes. Let me ask you a question: would you be checking for Shonda Rhimes? Do you consider that a great loss to the mating market?
I don't really know who Shonda Rhimes is, nor do I know how she looked, but I would say I think you know, alluding to the context of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they are wives. What I'm saying is that um you got hoes who think they're wives, and you got women who are considerably wives that act like hoes. Therefore, the lines are blurred. So if you're not on game, if you're not on cue, you could definitely be misrepresented in that factor as a man if you're looking for somebody to date seriously.
And let me
That's all
ask
I'm
you a question.
saying.
During this 3 to 6 months vetting period, are y'all guys having sex or are you just saving that?
No, I'm not waiting for sex. Me personally, I don't know about
Oh,
any other men.
wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute now. You're in the serious mating market for marriage and you're looking for a wife, and you want to vet to make sure that she's wife material, but in the meantime, you want to smut it out.
I'm not anything. You asked me a hypothetical
Per
question.
per
I just
our
gave you the
scenario.
answer.
Per our scenario.
Right.
So the brother ain't waiting for sex.
I don't think a lot of men are
He
waiting for
want
sex
to wait to
nowadays.
make sure it's properly vetted, but he ain't gonna wait for the sex though.
Say again.
The brother want to properly vet it to make sure it's the wife that's the real wife, and she ain't no hoe that's posing as a wife. But you ain't gonna wait for the sex though. In our hypothetical mock situation.
Well, you have to understand that that's the days and times that we're in. We're in a hypersexual market. Women are free to do as they please, right? So if she's in agreements with it, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I don't think
Sound
that
like to
that
me
makes her a wife or not a
you do much
wife.
better off just making a deal with a straight up hoe.
Uh, do I am I am do I have knowledge that the hoe is a straight up hoe?
I don't see why not. Hoes be winning out here. They don't hide the fact that they a hoe.
No. Listen. Do I have knowledge that the hoe is
They're
a
not some
hoe?
secret squirrel type stuff here. They're not 007 hoe. We know that they hoes. They balls out with the cock out. Come on, man.
Yeah, but you're assuming that it's black and white, and I deal with women a lot. It's not that
It
black and
is pretty
white.
black and white. You know, you're
We know
telling
that in
me
20.
that Brittany Renner, you got it. I'm not sure if she's really a hoe. Come on, man.
Oh,
You know how many
she is
millions
to
of
me, but I mean,
women out there like Brittany Renner in the United States? You know how many people use Instagram? You got over 1 billion unique visitors a month using Instagram. You know how many women are up there like her? Come on, man.
a lot of women. But what I'm saying is that I've also dealt with Michelle Obama types that were Brittany Renner. You know what I'm saying? So I the point
You
still
dealt with a
stands.
black.
I mean,
Hold on.
are
You
you
dealt with a
saying
black
that
woman
the
from Princeton.
lines?
Hang on. You dealt with a black woman from Princeton, law degree from Harvard, who act just like Brittany Renner. That's what you're telling me.
No, I messed with a black woman at LSU, Louisiana State University,
LSU ain't Princeton,
that
bro.
was like Brittany Renner. I mean,
LSU and
Princeton
Jackson
is
State.
Princeton.
LSU and Jackson State are more comparable than LSU and Princeton, bro. And if you don't
How so?
understand that, then we got to. Excuse me. You're
Well,
not really serious.
the reason I
You can't possibly
no
say how
listen. The
so and
reason
be
I say
serious.
that is because no, the how so is that the Princeton or Yale or Harvard is a little too extreme. You're not accounting for region or where you're
You just
located.
mentioned
You have to
Michelle
account for
Obama,
that.
brother. She went to Princeton,
LSU,
man.
where I'm at, right?
Come
But
on, bro.
the context of what I'm saying, is there are a lot of educated, career Michelle Obama like women, whether they went to Princeton, LSU, or whether they went to Ohio State.
No,
I mean,
sir.
they're all considerably in the same
No,
class of
sir.
women. You don't think so? You don't
No,
think
sir.
Michelle
No,
Obama
sir.
is on the
No,
same?
sir.
You don't think Michelle Obama would couldn't sit in a meeting with a woman who graduated top of her class from LSU? Are you
Brother.
saying that?
Brother.
Are you saying women from Princeton, Yale
Brother.
don't mingle with women who went to D1
Brother.
division colleges and graduated at the top of their
Brother.
class? Are you saying that?
Brother. Brother.
I don't understand what you're saying, Obsidian. I really
Brother.
don't. I love you though, man. I just don't
Here's what you
understand
can
what you're
do.
saying, man.
Here's what you can do. This is very easy to prove. You can look up all the women that have been around Michelle Obama since the time she met Barack Obama. Tell me the number of them that are a tiger from LSU. You tell me.
I mean, I would have to. That's some personal research, but I would say that isn't Michelle Obama and women like her also advocates for HBCUs and black colleges, historically black colleges.
Yeah, she's such a powerful advocate that she went to Princeton and Harvard.
Okay, let's not do that. Let's because what we're doing is we're saying that the state university is the same as the Ivy League university. So that's not an argument worth having. You don't gain anything if either side wins. Let's just say that the brother was saying that, like Michelle Obama, he's dealt with educated women.
That's all I was saying. I think the Ivy League stuff was just too.
No, I get it. I get it. So no, I was just correcting what you're saying, so we don't go down this rabbit hole. So you were saying that, like Michelle
Obama, that Brittany Renner's educated. She's a college-educated black woman too, Jackson State University.
And so then his statement that educated women, like the ones he's dated in the past, are like Brittany Renner is accurate because she's educated. So yeah.
Okay. So my thing is, so while you're doing this vetting, will there be sex put on hold? Like Russell Wilson vetted Sierra. According to the story, they put the sex on hold until they did the deed. That is to say, jump the broom, then they had sex. So I'm just curious.
I think you're making the assumption that in order to vet a woman, there needs not to be sex.
I didn't say that. I just asked a question.
I answered that a long time ago, Obsidian.
Yeah. You want to smut it out while you find out it's the white material.
Having sex doesn't mean slut it out.
What does it mean to you? Missionary Mormon style? What does it mean to you?
It means having sex, Obsidian.
Yeah, exactly. But what does that mean? Does that mean Mormon style sex?
It means intercourse. It means backbreaking,
exactly.
bending over the sofa.
Exactly. Bend that thing over. Let me see them booty cleats clap. Let me see all of that shit. Come on, man. Stop it, man. You even laughing because you know I'm right.
Listen,
Come on, man.
Listen. I get where you coming from, old man. I mess with y'all. I got a lot of love for you. I get where you're coming from. But are you saying that in order to vet a woman, you need not to have sex? Is that what I'm asking you a question?
I didn't say you didn't need to do anything. I just asked a question. I was just curious. In all of this vetting that you're doing for 3 to 6 months, what's up on the sexual end of things? Yeah.
Hypothetically.
So you ain't trying to do no 90-day rule. You gonna dive in and find out what you need to find out while you diving in.
Oh man, whether I want to hit it and quit it on day 1 or month 3 is it's gonna happen either way it go. So that really doesn't stand. I mean, sex is for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else. Say again.
That's mandatory.
Well, I'm gonna put it on the table, and if if you're not really with it, you have a right to decline.
Then what? Do you still continue to vet? You find out she's a proper wife, or you just hit the eject button?
All right. I'm back.
Hypothetically, you continue to vet.
Hello, everyone. I stepped away for a while and I came back, and it sounds. I mean, what did I miss? I'm not going to ask to recap everything I missed. I'm just going to speak on what I walked back in on. Was am I hearing it right? Is Obsidian advocating for the 90-day rule, or what's going on here?
Well,
Obsidian
the argument has been.
A couple of questions, that's all.
Yeah, the argument has been, and you've made this argument yourself, Bernard, that in our day and time, right now, you can have seemingly good girls on the outside, but secretly hoes on the inside, and the obverse. Okay, fair enough. So then we talk about vetting, and our brother Kiyoki Day says it takes about 3 to 6 months to properly vet if she's a wife and everything checks out. All right, that's fair. So then I asked the question, well, what about the sex in this length of time? Y'all hitting it, or y'all saving that until all the facts are in, and then you want to go and put a ring on it, and then y'all go and do the wild nasty. And he said, of course, we're gonna be having sex through all of that. So I just see the glaring contradiction on that.
I don't.
There is.
Here's a question. How does having sex interfere with the courting process or the vetting process?
Because the courting back in the day didn't entail sex.
Right, but I mean,
that doesn't answer his question.
Yeah, he's talking about today. How does it interfere with the courting process?
Because you want elements of today, but you don't want elements of today. See, you want the elements of today that suit you, which is the sex, but you don't want the other elements of the day, which is that woman could be also banging other dudes too.
Yeah, that's any day. Nobody wanted that ever. Nevertheless, I'm curious, like, how does sex interfere with the courting process?
I didn't say it did interfere with it.
Okay, so then if it's not interfering with the courting process, why shouldn't the brother have sex with the woman? In fact, that's probably one of the things that he's vetting her on during the courting process.
I didn't say he shouldn't.
That's true.
I didn't say that he shouldn't. I'm just simply saying that it's a contradiction.
Not really.
There is
well, really.
No, well, he didn't say that he wanted to go by old-timey Mormon rules. He said that he wanted to court and get married. Like, that's something that's still done today.
Hypothetically.
Al Boogie, just their comment about me having on a suit jacket with basketball shorts. Not true today. Not true today. Spartacus Jackson in the building says, fun fact, Michelle Obama received, give me 1 second. Fun fact, Michelle Obama received an honorary doctorate degree from Jackson State University in 2016 as commencement graduation speaker. We needed to hear that. We needed that. Thank you. We can move forward. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat, Spartacus Jackson. All right, we're down a rabbit hole. I want to switch gears. I want to switch gears and throw a question out there, because this was going to be the title topic of the show, but I still smuggled it into my opening diatribe, and I did put the question towards Obsidian. I'll throw the question at Game Changer in Kyoki Day, and hopefully we'll get down another rabbit hole. But Game Changer, you did make a good point, something that I never really thought about, that when it comes to the long-term mate in that early vetting process, you are vetting sexual skills too. And I mean, that's pretty obvious. I just never thought about it like that, because, you know, the woman I'm with, she's very suitable for long term, but the sex is definitely, I don't know if it's the icing on the cake or the cake, but that it matters. It matters. Does have to be good. But anyways, shout out to Spartacus Jackson once again with that. The question is something that was thrown out there. Me and my woman actually had a discussion about this, and I normally, whenever we have any of these discussions, I normally just out logic the hell out of her. She's, hella smart, I think I said she scored like only like 100 people per year score where she scored on the math section of the SAT. So she's real smart in terms of math, but logically I completely just destroy her whenever we have any discussion or debate. But me and her was kind of debating the idea, the notion that a woman will just conform around the man that she's with. However that man operates, that tends to be how the woman will operate. She will basically conform to the man. Throw that at Game Changer in Kyoki Day. Do y'all think that's generally true?
So I would disagree with that. I think that women choose men that they that they want to conform around. So how can I say this? Okay, so a female police officer, a former female police officer, was telling me how most of the female police officers are actually there for husbands. They are actually into cops, and they join the police force with the sole purpose of finding a mate that is a police officer. So it's not like she found a firefighter and she's like, I'm going to become a firefighter wife or something like that. You know, they pick the guys. They haven't changed themselves to meet what the guy wants. They just found a guy that is what they want, and will accept them for who they are.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Personally, I think that's a good idea.
No, I didn't say anything was wrong with it. I was just explaining what's happening with to Bernard. I was saying that it's not them adapting to them. They're not taking guys as they are and then adapting to who the guy is. They're finding a guy who they want, and they don't have to adapt at all.
So how come? So the guys that are complaining about black women not being submissive, obviously the problem is they're not the right guy for that girl, and for whatever reason they got together. Presumably she chose the guy per your argument, but then it raises the question of why they're complaining about not getting submission from him. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that.
Well, so here's the thing. They if they're not choosing to be with dominant guys, then they're refusing to submit. So that's not really a complaint. That's just a cultural observation.
Or they're choosing to be with
I
guys they
was
had
just
no
gonna say that.
intention. They had no intention on ever submitting to begin with.
Exactly. Exactly. The
But
guys
why
choose
would he get with it? But that doesn't work with your own argument, because by your argument, which makes sense to me, a woman will choose a man that she can naturally conform with, be as a cop, firefighter, bricklayer, whatever. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense to me. Why would you then get with a man that you don't want to do anything like that with?
Because she's naturally uncooperative and full of chaos. So she gets with the guy with the intention on still being like that.
or she's culturally like that. Yeah. But
Oh,
nevertheless,
naturally or culturally. Good
Yeah.
point. Good
yeah.
point on the culturally.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but for whatever reason, she gets with men that she can control, as opposed to a controlling man.
And
So
Joyce J
the answer
in the chat
wouldn't
room, one of the
the answer
moderators,
itself.
asked a question: have I ever proposed to any woman? I fail to see what that question has to do with anything, but I'll answer it anyway. No, I haven't. Every woman I've ever known, ever since 18, has known that I'm a bachelor for life. Up front, they knew that right off the rip. I have zero interest in getting married. Don't need to. As a 21st century guy, I can get everything I want or need from a woman without ever having to put a ring on it. That's a fact.
Kyoki Day, you
So
got
the
it.
answer would be yeah. So the answer would be yes, but only like a game changer said from cultural standards. I would it's an observable reality that white women latch onto their men and they pair Spanish women, Latino women, Chinese women. It's just that ADOS black women seem to pretty much have most issues with that formally, and it's primarily culturally. So the answer would be culturally. It would be a yes and no. So yes, women naturally conform to their men, but from a cultural standpoint, I would say that black women have most issues with that.
Theo Waff in the building says, my late wife wanted to control me and had no intention of following me. I had no idea what was happening and suffered the consequences. Thank you for the super chat, Theo Waff. Shout out to you.
So what Theo is describing is a situation where she's seen that he had a program, she's seen that he had something, excuse me, that he wanted, for the marriage, and she was like, "Fuck that."
Well, yeah, but see, here's the thing. Okay, Theo is obviously a structured guy. He's on point. He's hardworking, intelligent, lives an orderly life. If it's the case that women conform to the guy that they're with, then she would have naturally got more structured and orderly and less chaotic. That didn't happen. And this is a conversation I was having with my woman. And I said, so what do you say to situations like that? Then she said, oh, well, that means the man needs to pick better. He needs to not pick a woman like that. And I've seen that online and they get all, amped up about it where they're like, he need to pick better and and the whole thing. But I'm like, the point that I made earlier on the show is that they can't have both of those arguments. You can't on one hand say that because I've heard a lot of women say that the woman will conform to the man. So however she's acting, that's how and what the man is. If he was better, she would be better. And then when I point out a situation with somebody like Theo, the woman is still wayward and chaotic. They say, well, he should have picked better. Well, he shouldn't have. If your original premise is true, he wouldn't have to pick better. He could just pick a woman and she would conform to him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like they can't have both of those arguments at the same time. It's always a glaring contradiction whenever they try to say that no, women adjust to that. They're like dogs, so to speak, the way I explained it. If somebody gets a dog and they the owner likes to run and get out and exercise, the dog is happy, wagging his tail, excited to go running. If the dog's owner is just a lazy, on the couch watching TV all day, the dog will just get fat and lazy with him and lay down on the floor while he's laying on the couch. The dog is going to conform to whatever its master is. Some people argue that that's how women are, but then we point out situations like with Theo and his first wife. then the exact counter argument, and I've observed it plenty of times, they say, oh, well, he needed to pick better. But they can't have both of those arguments at the same time. I eliminate the conform argument. No, they don't conform. The guy just needs to pick better. And once you are dealing with a genuinely good woman that you have picked, yeah, she will modify things, but it will be small things. It will be just a little small. Like my woman had to make some small modifications and things to fit my specifications, but generally she came out the box acting like she has some sense. That's generally where
I
I'm
would
at
make
with
the
that.
statement that I would make the statement that most women have a hard time admitting that some women are chameleons. They blend in pretty good, and then once they kind of settle in, they show their true colors.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Ricardo Rodney. ARC. I did see. I believe it was a community tab post where he said something about he had COVID. So our thoughts and prayers are with ARC. I think I did mention that on the air. Thoughts and prayers with Mr. Alan Roger Curry. Hopefully he gets well soon. It didn't sound like he was doing that bad. Like he went out like Donovan.
I didn't know he had the Rona.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he said he had I think mild symptoms, but it didn't sound serious. It doesn't sound like he's
nothing to play around with. He's got pre-existing comorbidities. I hope he pulls through it.
Yeah. But no, I'm just going based off just reading what I read. It didn't sound like he was in really bad shape, but still, like you say, it ain't nothing to play with either way. It says Bernard. Okay, I only give the personal stuff when I give it. Don't be asking personal questions out the gate. But that one it just jumped off the page on me. It says Bernard, how's your woman's relationship with her father? I have a theory that women who have even basic relationships with their father make better girlfriends/wives. It's actually not good. There was some reconciliation. I'll just say that to put it mildly. And she did. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. She she had some therapy before. She got a fresh, clean bill of mental health, and so she's so. But no, there was not trying to shit on kick dirt on the father or nothing. But yeah, it was it was it's not the best of situations. Wasn't the best of situations either. But anyway, but where are we at? Shout out to RM posting. That was nice of you. We just missing ARC and you dropped his books in there. That's nice. R&B on it. The moderator of the year. Shout out to Gail Lockett as well. But all right, we are almost at the 4-hour mark. I'm almost to the point to where I could close this thing out and wrap this thing up, unless anybody got something to say. Shout out to Cole Steele in the building. Your comment drove a little bit of the conversation, but we can kind of close this thing out unless the two of you got anything in particular that you do want to throw out into the conversation. Anything? Any final words?
Thank you.
GC, any final words?
I can't top that. So yeah.
You can't top that. All right, y'all. We about to get up out of here. I'd like to thank everybody who supported the stream in any way, shape, or form that you did, whether you super chatted, Cash App. I don't got my phone, but I know the Mac the Trucker and Katie sent the Cash App. If you sent one, after that, you'll be shouted out on tomorrow's show. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Wait for it. Okay, where the hell is it? I can't find it. It's gone. It's gone and lost forever. Did I accidentally delete? No, I didn't. Okay, we are out of here. Peace. Today's show is brought to you by the Division 6 comic book, created and produced by Michael Varner and executive producer Theodore Young. Division 6 is a James Bond meets Mission Impossible like geopolitical thriller. The protagonist is Seth Banks, an African-American male genius in cryptology and economics that secretly works for a rogue organization of the CIA called Division 6. Be sure to click the link in the chat room or in the video description to view the comic book. New chapters are added bi-weekly.